15 already.
I know, right? Time is flying by, and you guys have only traveled within like a kilometer radius of one area. It's great.
Tell me more.
And so
But
much
it's
more
it's so packed with fun things to do, which I'm sure someone's going to tell me about in the next 2 minutes.
Fine. Okay. Session starts. Take care of hypothermic Nikolai, and he's stabilized successfully thanks to specifically Gwen and Kenna. Seeing that he's stabilized, Kenna and Lars decide to do a check around the perimeter. Notice that the meteorite is not too far away. Check it. Lars recognizes this green metal as dandelight, which is very reflective, comes out of space, and can be sold for gold. A lot of it. Decide to bring the rest of it for the next day when Nikolai is better. Nikolai is better, but the weather is worse, so instead the group decides to head further down the Druid tunnels, and they find, near the direction of near the fortress, relatively speaking, a tunnel that goes down. First Kenna, then Gwen, then the rest of the group. A passage starting to be filled with plants, and they eventually find a dwarven settlement, not unlike the ones of the fortress. The architecture, unlike the ones of the fortress, and proven more when an item Nikolai has spawns to one of the desks. So, time to figure out the mystery of this dwarven fortress or settlement that is totally abandoned.
Really good summary.
I would call that an excellent summary. At least a third inspiration point worthy summary.
Fortunately, we're still 1 point away from level 5.
That's you guys are still really close to that too. Hopefully, ideally, probably at the end of the session, you guys might level up. Who knows? You might stumble into a setback.
That's not ominous at all.
No, not at all. But it's really.
If that's what we need, I'll make it happen.
Don't you dare.
Okay.
Technically, you need a setback or a goal to hit level 5 this session. So take your pick. Or one more bond, technically speaking. Either way.
A lot of ways to be level 5.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys will find your way. Either way, so there you all are, gathered in a subterranean office surrounding the desk of what was belonging to one of the commanders of this dwarven clan responsible for the runes in the area. Nikolai in particular, finds himself rummaging through the desk, granted access by the helmet that he discovered in the secondary level beneath Stenmeyer's ruins. You have in your possession a myriad of things, of which there are 2 things of particular interest, if only because you're not entirely certain what's in them, which are 2 small lockboxes. But then there was some coinage found, a gold chain with a gold dragon amulet attached to it, and handfuls of paperwork and writing implements.
I'm sorry?
I was just going to remind you what the room looks like again real quick. So all of these rooms on this small attached structure to the interior of this cave wall have these large windows that peer out into the darkness beyond. A detect magic spell from Gwen told everyone that they are enchanted with divination magic. What they do yet, no one's entirely positive, but we know that much. There is a large desk with a chair that was pushed into it. On the floor is the intricately carved form of the gold dragon head profile that you've seen stamped onto the same room that was below Fort Stenmeyer, which is heavily locked and you are still unaware of what's inside. There is an adjoining door, and the room adjacent looked like what you'd expect to be a single person's private quarters, bed, armor rack, wardrobe, things of that nature. Probably belonging to the same person whose office this was. And then there was a set of stairs on the wall opposite the window, opposite the desk, that descends down, which we have not been through yet. And that is where you are. Gwen, you had a question.
You did.
I did. Do you, am I correct in remembering that the lockboxes had, was it evocation or abjuration magic on them?
That's a great question. Let's see. So there were a couple of things. So the rune, the large dragon profile on the floor had evocation magic attached to it. The two lock boxes, the smaller of the two, the box was not magical, but the thing inside of it was. And if my notes are correct, it said it was abjuration in the small box. And then the larger of the two lock boxes, the box was magical, and was likewise abjuration, but you could not detect anything magical within.
Okay.
If someone has notes saying otherwise, please correct me.
My notes here, the last note taken was the small lockbox, that is magical, radiates divination magic. Maybe not abjuration.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. I see how I confuse myself on that one.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, no, thank you. Cross-referencing notes is important because when I'm writing notes, I'll be honest with you, my notes are a cluster. So it's good to have someone who also takes good notes so I can cross-reference to make sure what I said is consistent.
My last chunk is just a massive paragraph of me frantically scrolling all the information about all the items I was taking out, so...
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff.
Sure.
There was a lot of stuff. But that being said, with some of that recovered and laying out before you, there's still more to explore, things to discover. What do you guys want to do? There's mysteries to behold.
Well, these out of character. These items. There are a lot of items, and I don't have enough spell points to identify them all in character. If I will go, maybe we should investigate that window a little bit more. From Gwen saying it radiates divination magic, it might be interesting.
Curious to know what might be down those stairs.
Well. Yeah, Nikolai will... you did... I know, you said that there was divination magic. Was there anything that might be harmful magics on the window?
On the window? Not as far as you would know. And most types of divination magic don't really have harmful effects in tune with them. You'd expect something like evocation magic if something you were going to touch and it was going to explode or make you blind. Or necromancy, for that matter. Divination is benign. I feel like is doing it a disservice. It tends to be something that helps with an extrasensory sight of some kind. Whether if it's peering a distance away or, like in Kenna's case, giving herself dark vision, things like that.
So that's the windows.
Those are the windows.
If I go over to the window and like look out, do I just see the void out beyond it?
Darkness.
Okay. And that tracks with what we saw up on the battlements.
Yep.
DM.
Yes, player.
I'm still a brown bear, black bear.
Yeah, you're still a black bear.
So while
There we
they're
go.
messing around with all of this magic stuff that I don't really care about, I am going to be using the good old bear sniffer
Yep.
and trying to see what I can smell down the staircase.
It is a spiral staircase, right?
No, it is a straight down staircase.
I see. That improved. That's my visibility. So if I peer down there, what could I see?
You see a
Going
landing.
down.
After about 50 or so feet, it becomes a landing. And there is a fork, one that goes left and one that goes right.
Anything else particular?
Nothing.
Landing.
Yeah, nothing else that stands out. It's just pretty plain old stairs.
So I'm like at the top of this thing, shoving my head through the entryway and sniffing. Because bears have great smell sensing.
Yeah.
Is this staircase actually big enough for me to fit down
Yes.
as a bear?
It is.
It is.
It's a little
Okay.
it's a little tight on the back end, but you can fit. You know, if you just if you suck it in, you're fine.
Okay, key.
Okay. Question, and this is
Yeah.
for you to kind of really put a ruling on, not altering the wild shape size, but do animals have a different kind of like size appearance based on the druid wild shaping into them? Like, would this be a larger black bear than like what a normal black bear would be because of how big Kenna is? Or is it just a normal sized black bear?
Honestly, I've always pictured Kenna's wild shapes to be slightly larger than average due to her actual stature, but it's one of those, I feel like you can control the druidic magic enough that if you wanted to be an average-sized black bear, you could be.
I think we had a discussion about this, and we were to say it would be a bit bigger.
Yeah, I mean, I'm for that. I'm agreeing with how CJ was picturing it. I just was curious to know. I'm not having to have like a large brown bear or black bear stat block. I just
I think that's what you mentioned before. So.
Okay, I wouldn't go down it.
Okay. You're just gonna sniff.
Not yet.
I will take like a step or two into it to try and block out whatever or like aura is in these other rooms so that I can focus down the staircase.
Okay. All right. Well, they make me a bear sniffer check. It's at advantage.
+6 at advantage. Because bears are really good at smelling.
They are good at smelling.
Okay, first one's a 10, so that'd be a 16.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Second one's a 10, so that's a 16.
What did we say earlier about D20s that roll 10s? They're just good enough. All right, so you kind of fill up the space and you take a deep whiff of the air down the staircase, trying to pick up any unusual scents. And it smells like more of the same ever since you've entered into this area. You can smell the stonework. Otherwise, the air itself is mostly just a bit stale because it's been sealed up for so long. There is nothing otherwise that stands out to you.
So, but it's like kind of just dry.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was humid or dry down here.
Well, so inside it's dry. Outside it's very humid.
Because plants.
Interesting.
Yeah, outside it is humid, warm, and the air smells incredibly sweet due to all the flowers that were blooming.
Mm-hmm. But inside it's just
It's
dry.
dry and stale.
No air fluid, like no air movement. Just
Correct.
kind of sits.
Mm-hmm.
So I would presume that all of the stonework is dry as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Dwarves have a way about
Okay.
them.
Okay, that was it. I was just trying to see if there was any kind of like mildew or if I could smell air, like feel air flowing or anything. That's all.
All right. Anyone else?
If the group doesn't mind, Nikolai's gonna go over to the window and touch it first. Does it react to him at all?
Nope. Touch the window. It's a little bit warm, but other than that, nothing unusual happens.
And I will cast Identify on the window.
Okay.
Because it intrigues me.
All right. You will take a minute to cast Identify. And when you do, you discover that it is under the effects of a modified dark vision spell. In that, when you speak the command word, it will activate the magic in the window, and it will give you an extended dark vision sight of up to 600 feet.
What's the command word then? I believe Identify does do that.
It doesn't always, but so yes, it does, but not always. One of those. That's more of me telling you in the it's not a catch-all for future things that might be more difficult. Just
Okay.
just checking something.
Who has the bag of holding?
Nikolai does.
It is Nikolai.
Nikolai, would you mind throwing these lockboxes and... It was 2 lockboxes and a knife that we found in the drawer, right? Along with some notes and stuff?
So yeah, so there was
There was a lot more.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, Nikolai sounds like he's got the list written down, so I'll stop myself from repeating.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's the ancient dwarven coinage, the lockboxes, the dragon chain, the golden dragon chain, the dagger, and then he also grabbed the document, and that is all going to the bag of holding, which is on
Okay.
him.
Alright. I was just gonna ask if we hadn't already, can we throw those in there?
Yeah.
And are there books on the shelves in here? You said it was a study?
It is an office, but there are no shelves or books.
Okay.
And that is your command phrase, Nikolai.
Ooh. Thank you. Then he would speak it then. No reason not to.
Okay. As all the items are being gathered and stored into the satchel where the orb resides, Nikolai, your hand presses up against the glass, and you speak the words "Holteld Gek," and you watch as there's a moment where the glass shimmers from corner to corner, and then it ripples almost like it's out of water, and then once it solidifies, the tint of the glass changes ever so slightly, and you watch as your vision clarifies, and you see almost like a rippling like sonar wave echo out across the cave, and as it crosses over, you begin to see details be revealed to you that weren't there before. The vision from the window giving you perfect sight into the cavern. All of you can see this. It doesn't require everyone to speak the word. The word activates the glass, and if you're looking through it, it works. And the thing that you watch as it reveals, you see this wide open circular cavern with the walls laced in the same the blue and purple flowers that you saw outside. There is a large stone column that it looks like it's something wore its way through the cave that's sort of grown up on the left side. And then the thing that immediately catches your eye that does not look like it belongs is then about 70% of the way down, you begin to see these very large, square stone and metal facets that look very much like the same architecture of the buildings you've been walking through for the last couple of days. Very much resembling the building you're standing in currently. And then attached to them are enormous spiked chains. Large enough that you think if you were to gather these onto a small boat, you'd very easily sink it. These are gargantuan. A single link is larger than Kenna. And they are draping down on the sides of the walls. And then when you follow them down to the bottom of the cavern, reflecting from the magic enchanted into the window, you begin to see a sea of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of golden scales attached to what is an enormous draconic form resting at the bottom of the cavern, completely still, bound by these enormous golden spiked chains. You're very certain you are staring down at the body of a gold dragon.
Is it alive? Can you tell if it's alive?
It's not moving. It doesn't. There's no movement to it, and it's important to note. It's since you're dealing with it, dragons in my setting are not traditional creatures. They are closer to constructs. So the need to breathe is not a thing. So you won't see a rise and fall of the dragon. If it's there, it looks whole. There's no damage to it. It is very well shackled, and you do not think it could even rise up from its position. But there's no sign that it's alive or dead. It's just there. It's existing.
Question.
Yes.
And
You said everybody would
Go
see
ahead.
this. But
Yes.
because of where I placed myself,
You don't
Am
see
I
it right away.
clueless?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on the other side of the room with your bare face down into the stairs.
Basically, if you can look, you can see it. So where is this window pointing at that we can see it?
Out into the abyss.
Exactly.
That big
Look
that
up.
big
Downward,
bubble of dark. Yeah,
or-
it's down. It's down. It's at the bottom of this cavern, and it's huge.
It's
Wait a minute, this window is like...
It's about 300 or 300 or so feet down.
Okay, but what do you mean?
What-
Is like the window at the edge of a cliff, or is it like below us?
It's below you.
Where's... Oh, that's really cool.
So
I
yeah,
didn't
so
realize
so
that's what the
so
window is.
imagine, if you will, in your mind, to create a large spherical space. That space is carved out of the mountain, so it's made out of the rock. You guys are more or less on a stone platform built by the dwarves. That's about 85% up on the top half of the sphere. Looking down from that platform, at the very bottom of the sphere is where this gold dragon is shackled. Where about 30% of the way up from there, you can see all these huge anchor points that the dwarves built attached to the chains that are keeping the gold dragon in place. And then from there, surrounding the rest of the cavern, stalagmites, stalactites in various places, all the flowers that are growing in vines, etc. And for the record, the vision goes out to about 600. It goes out to 600 feet, but the cavern continues going past that after a point. So you're not even certain what's beyond that.
Is like...
Two questions.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you go ahead.
I need a visual for this. I know you gave us a visual, but like we can continue seeing below. Is that like at a
No,
height?
there's nothing below. The dragon is the bottom.
Oh, okay. Because you
Yeah,
said
it's the bottom of a bowl, and the dragon is resting in the bottom of the bowl.
Okay.
So yeah, so it hits the bottom, but it goes past. Like the dark vision doesn't reach as far as the.
Yes,
cavern.
the dark vision reaches
Yeah.
outward beyond further than 600 feet, but you see the bottom. So I was using the sphere as a point of reference because that's what the cavern looks like from what you've been able to see so far, but it could be more oblong than it is perfectly spherical.
Two questions. I don't know if Nikolai would know this or how much knowledge of the dragons is around. Because sort of akin to construct. Do they need to eat like they don't have to breathe? Or
They don't have to breathe. This is hang on before I dive into that. That's a history check, my good friend.
Yeah.
And draconic knowledge is rare because dragons just don't live on this plane of existence anymore. After the war was over, they stopped having a need to be here.
Oh, you actually did decent.
Okay. You know a little bit about dragons, if only because it's one of those things that's really fascinating in the study, especially since they're so unusual and rare. Dragons were created during the Great Creation War, originally by the Primordials, as their entities to destroy and eliminate all mortal life because they wanted to start over. That's pretty well-known history. And then, in reaction to that, when the mortals were starting to lose because they weren't prepared for these new creations, the new gods at the time, the young gods at the time, made their own dragons to fight those dragons. And those dragons were the protected dragons, the metallic dragons. All dragons are made as war machines. They are just programmed slightly differently. Protector dragons are made to preserve and keep life, whereas primordial dragons are literally exist to destroy. Both of them require a huge amount of energy in order to continue existing. Primordial dragons and protectorate dragons gain their energy differently. Primordial dragons have the advantage that when they kill and destroy, they can consume the energy of those things that were living and absorb it to make themselves stronger. And the more energy they absorb, the more they grow and the more powerful they become. And so that's how dragons age as well. Like, a dragon could be around for 10,000 years, but if it's not gathering more energy, it stays the same size and the same power. But a dragon that has spent a lot of time doing its job and gathering energy will grow and become more powerful. Which, for the record, at the very least, knowing that, you see that thing down there, it's huge. It's done some work.
That was my second question, was roughly how old is this dragon?
Hard to tell its age. Its size category is gargantuan.
Big boy.
Yeah, and that is to say, primordial dragons destroy and eat things as necessary, and all dragons can gain energy from the consumption of anything that has a soul easily, because that is the whole premise of energy in the universe. Protectorate dragons, however, gain more strength by existing in a natural environment. Because their job is to protect, they are not always actively seeking destruction. So they are posted in an area that has life, and as long as that life is sustaining and flourishing, they will grow and become more powerful. So they are more able to defend it should it ever come under attack. But that's what made them incredibly dangerous, because during the Great Creation War, there was just nonstop conflict. So the metallic dragons grew very quickly, despite the fact that the primordial dragons had a very long time to already grow in strength. And so it was the reason why it balanced out the war a bit quickly. All the other details, though, a little wishy-washy.
A lot of flowers down there?
I'm just double checking real quick. Only Nikolai knows this, right?
You can make a history check. But yes, that's what Nikolai knows.
Everything you just said is everything is that was Nikolai specific. What you just described.
Yes, because he rolled a history check for that knowledge. Yes.
Yep. Just I want to double check before I say anything.
Yep. That's what Nikolai knows.
Flowers growing down there? Just a thing I want to know.
Yes. All over the cave, including over the dragon and the chains. They're just everywhere. It's just imagine if something like civilization was built somewhere and then it was neglected and nature was retaking it. That's what this looks like.
Nature's healing. Okay, just want to know that because of the description. Because the plants stopped pretty much where the place was built, but down there, once again, it's...
Yeah, and because people were asking for... You guys can keep talking and asking questions. I'm just doing a little sloppy paint work real fast to try to make a point.
I'm just...
Just taking it all in.
Kenna slowly starts walking down the staircase.
Okay.
When we saw the thing, Gwen tried to whistle to get Kenna's attention. Did she mind that at all?
Mm-hmm.
She saw it, and she went to go back down to the staircase.
Yeah, Gwen follows.
Sure. All right, well, you guys are sort of taking us in. Gwen and Kenna head down the stairs. It's 50 feet down, angled stairs, straight down. You arrive at a landing to the left, which goes into the cave wall, aka the cave that this structure is built against. It goes into the cave. There's a hallway that goes down for about 25 feet, and then there's a metal dwarven door. And to the right, you can see that it goes out into the cave, aka larger onto the overhang, and there is yet another door.
Is it locked?
If you go to the door and try it, it is in fact locked.
You said the one to the left goes even down further.
It goes into the cave wall 25 feet.
Oh.
There. And just so you guys have a
do anything about this.
so you guys have a visual reference. It's a little sloppy, and obviously I'm missing 3 dimensions, so it's harder to exactly portray everything, but that's more or less what this space looks like.
What's the yellow?
The dragon.
I figured. And this is our window.
No, that's the building.
Okay.
So that's an entire structure attached to the cave wall. So you guys would be looking out from here downward.
Yep.
We're basically on an outlook type of thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And those flowers are like right here.
The flowers are freaking everywhere.
But they're like...
Just covering the walls and the chains.
Yeah, wherever there's space for flowers and vines to grow, they've more or less overtaken. They just didn't make it into the dwarven. They didn't make it into the building, but they've grown everywhere else they can.
Windows.
Yeah, or on the windows.
I guess that's because magical property, probably.
Who knows?
That's a safe assumption.
Not a bad assumption, yeah.
Just because if they need to, they always need to be able to see it. So
I mean, you would hate being that dwarven window washer having to go out there every day to deal with those things.
weed whacking.
Yeah, basically.
Especially with the dragon in there.
Not
So
if it's a nerd.
So there's the door on the right ends in, or the pathway on the right ends in a door. Door is locked. Door on the left just peters
Goes
out
down.
the hill?
It goes down a hall. No, so
Okay.
you land on a platform. It is a fork. It goes left and right. The door to the right goes. The landing extends about 10 more feet, and there's a door. That is the door you have checked, and it is locked. If you go to the left, it extends into the cavern wall about 25 feet, and also ends at another door.
And that door is also locked.
If you try it, it is also locked.
Okay.
Are they metal doors?
They are metal and stone. Yes.
Okay.
The dwarves are consistent in their construction.
I'm not wasting this hour-long wild shape. Someone with opposable thumbs is gonna have to deal with this.
Is Nikolai still on top?
To be real honest.
Yeah, let's go. Kenan and Gwen are down below. Nikolai, Lars, and Edelweiss are above.
Just to react to this in character, I'm just gonna turn to Nikolai and this is much bigger than any of us. And I, of course, don't mean my size. I didn't think there'd be.
It's almost painfully obvious that there would be something down here, though, right?
Indeed.
The Lord Protector's helm, all of the dragon motifs.
I'm just surprised
Why?
that so close by too. Shall we follow the other two and go down?
Well, if they manage to get into the cavern, pretty sure those two don't speak Draconic.
Gwen
So
makes her way back
probably
up
be
the
a good
stairs.
idea.
Gwen emerges as you two are having this conversation.
Two locked doors down there. We
Speak
could
up.
use some help getting them open.
Well, there's that.
I always hope there's those things, so.
I guess let's go and see them. Start walking.
Okay.
Let's go down the stairs.
Y'all go down the
Go
stairs.
down the stairs. Look at Lars and see if he's.
Would there be any plants in the area that we're in?
No, there is not. It's still enclosed.
Ah. Yeah, Lars is just hanging back, and when everyone starts moving downstairs, he'll follow, but he'll say to Edelweiss, he's like, I agree with your point of view, Edelweiss. This is very much over our heads. But if they want to explore a bit more, then what's stopping them? And then he'll follow downstairs.
It's a dragon. It will always be above our heads.
If it flies,
It doesn't have to fly.
Lars will go down to the lower end and he'll see Gwen and goes, I hear you have a door that needs opening.
Yes, sir.
Well, it
This way.
seems like I'm the defunct door person around here, so I'll see what I can do.
Glad to have you, Blondie.
There are two doors. One on the left and one on the right.
That.
One that goes out towards the cavern and one that goes away from it. Which door would you like to start with?
You just
Don't
hear
forget that 1d4.
Kenna as a bear just and like puts a paw up towards the left.
Well, I don't speak bear, but I think that's pretty obvious. And he'll walk over towards the left door.
Okay. A Tinker's Tools check with intelligence and add a D4.
Tinker's Tools.
Mhm.
Which one? Sorry, which one was
Intelligence?
it? Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And add a D4. Because Edelweiss is guiding.
Submit. I did press submit.
You did.
And that's a 4.
Oof.
And that's a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might need to re-roll that. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a re-roll on that.
Okay.
Does the D4 still apply?
Oh, good question. We have not run into that yet.
And that's kind of important.
I would allow it. I would allow it to apply to the roll that you end up selecting.
Okay.
So if you use an inspiration point to re-roll this, so you re-roll the 8, or re-roll the 4, as the case may be, you could then add the guidance to the next roll, or the other roll if that's the roll you go with.
Yeah.
You can
Well.
re-roll
Okay.
that 1d4. That's actually
Yeah.
kind of good sometimes.
Okay. Well, I mean, I did roll a 4, so that's max. So intelligence, and once more with gusto. Ah, well, I'm not gonna go again. Screw it.
More would have been a 15.
Yeah, the first door you worked on getting in here, it was already the craftsmanship and for the lock was very intricate and detailed, and it took quite a bit of effort for you to actually successfully get it open. And you're thinking maybe just a little bit of luck as well. And working on the second lock, it seems as if it just seems to defeat you. Something about the intricacies, although you suspect they might be the same locks, you can't just get the same sort of hold you had with your tools like you did in the first one.
Lars gets up, scratches his head, turns around, and goes, it's the same lock, but it's a bit more difficult than I expected. Might need to see a alternative route, or let me try and study it a bit more. Spend a bit more time on it to see if I can open it.
How much time do you need?
Another hour.
Yeah, give me another hour. I should be able to crack it, I think.
There goes Kanna's rare form.
There is
Also
another
take-
door.
There's
Yeah,
another
you
door.
can try the other one.
Okay, I'll go open the other doors then, and he's trying to open the ones that are inside.
Can I hold the flashlight? Help.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can Nikolai help by also helping steady the door?
Actually, I have a question,
Mhm.
CJ.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, since I level up, my wild shape lasts for 2 hours.
Yes, it
How
does.
long has it been since I came down this tunnel as a bear? The
I
original
would say,
tunnel.
like, conservatively 30 minutes.
Okay. I forgot that when I level, it increases how long I
Yep.
can stay as an animal.
Yep, divided by 2, so 2 hours. So you got another 90 minutes being a bear.
Yay! Fluffy ears.
Mm-hmm.
Fluffy butt.
Oof.
The important part.
Yeah, that is important. All right, well,
What's
we know...
more important is
Yes.
does Kenna enjoy scritches in wild shape?
Mm-hmm. Well, that is important.
Are you gonna fuck around and find out if she does?
Mm.
Is that the thing?
It's
I
a
think-
Is
yes.
that would Gwen do
I
It's a
think-
that?
yes.
I think Gwen fucks around and finds that out while she's sort of bored and just standing around next to a big old bear and just sort of absentmindedly starts scratching on it.
We still got a second door to
this
try.
door.
Yeah, so the door.
So the
Well, I suppose you know the drill at this point, Nikolai. I'm not sorry, Nikolai. Mordahine.
Yeah.
can I help him with that?
And that's another 4 as well.
Steadying the-
Mm-hmm.
10.
Sorry, I have to ask, Ryan, is there a reason why you're not using your physical dice?
He's using the physical dice to the d4s.
Well, yeah, but why not the d20s?
Because I don't know the specific ones I need to roll.
Well, just roll a d20 and then the number is a +4.
Okay. Never mind, I'll do it in future.
Okay. That's yeah. You don't ever be afraid to ask if you need to figure out the math. We'll work through it.
Okie doke.
Same story. The The
I'll
locks
tell you
just.
what. I'm gonna do something nifty. I did save my D100. I remember because I remember telling you something after the game that I want to sort of crack the case on this whole thing. But I
Mhm.
want to do something else with my D100 if I can.
Sure.
Essentially, because I have encountered these locks and I've cracked one before, and I have had 2 experiences like with trying to open this door.
Mm-hmm.
Can I sort of build up a mental picture in my mind to go, right, I did that one downstairs, these 2 were wrong, and try and figure out a way to give myself advantage on these doors? I'm not saying crack
Sure.
them.
Yeah. I see what you're getting at. Yeah, if that's what you want to use your D100 on for the day, go for it.
Yeah, okay. This is dice roll.
Good luck.
Money, no whammies, money, no whammies. 43.
You've been bested by 2 of these out of the 3, and you realize you sort of sit down there with everyone kind of waiting and expecting the results. And you try to focus in and build a reasonable picture for you to be able to deduce a better way of beating these locks with your tool set. But unfortunately, the pressure that is just building in the room with the expectation of needing to go somewhere sort of just defeats it, and there is no logical way for you to figure out a way to do this that you haven't already tried.
He's sort of like exasperatedly like at the door as he's trying to work on one of the doors. Just sort of like pulls the tools out and just like in a hunch just sighs and goes, "These doors are defeating me. I can't get any further. It just seems weird to me. We need to think of another way. I can maybe attempt the left door once more, but I can't guarantee anything."
Whoa.
I think. I can try helping with my knowledge of the stonework. These doors are partly made of stone, and maybe some of their mechanisms are stone.
Right.
Just an idea.
Come with me. Lars will go over like and sort of like just like shoulder hug Nikolai and go, "Come on, I need you." Drags him over to the left hand door.
Before he drags him away, I just listening to Lars, I just give him a reassuring like head rub on his leg. I guess it would be more or less like his stomach.
Yeah,
Or,
the abdomen.
Or, yeah, just give him a little nuzzle.
And this is more of a countermeasure for spamming checks until success. This next one will take an hour to do. Rather, they all sort of take a certain amount of time, but this is like you and Nikolai sitting down, spitballing your experience with this and trying to see between the 2 of you if you can come up with a successful idea on how to dismantle this without just like jamming tools in and trying again over and over.
Yeah.
So 60 minutes time will pass before this next check can be made.
Yeah, before Lars goes to start like thinking with Nikolai, he just goes, "I'm gonna need time. If anyone doesn't want to do this, please say no, because we need time to think about this."
About what time of day is it?
I mean, you're underground and have been in a cave for a while. Make a nature check to see how well you're keeping track of the passing time.
Alright. Let me see if I can get this dice out of this box. Here we go. Nature, you say?
Nature.
Not trying to aid anybody. I rolled a 13 plus a 6 because bears and knowing how time works. It's actually funny that they do, but I'm not sharing anything I get from it.
I mean,
I
you're a bear. It'd be tough.
I rolled a 2 plus 3 for a 5.
You have no idea what time it is.
I have no idea what time.
Kenna Bear, you know it's it's sometime past 10 o'clock.
AM? PM?
AM.
AM, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All
You
right.
guys woke up early this morning. And you know, it's just past 10 a.m., like 15, 20 minutes past.
Just the bear for now.
The bear knows what time it is, but none of us.
So,
Alright.
It tracks with the
So-
druid.
Black bear, what do you know?
So am I sitting here with Nikolai? We'll sort this out, and we'll try and open the door again. Agreed.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I was gonna say, in the meantime, what is everyone else gonna be doing? That means there was an hour for the other three of you to be doing something. If anything, you guys could just take a short rest if you wanted.
Were there books?
There was paperwork in the desk. There were no books.
Okay.
There.
What about in the other rooms? I thought there were like.
So yeah, there were 3 rooms in total. One looked like a preparation room that
Shh! No.
but that
that.
is now pretty much devoid of most of the equipment, with the exception of 2 dwarven crossbows. There was a break room with several cabinets in it, which no one has touched, and a bunch of empty tables. There was the office, where there was a bunch of paperwork in the drawers. And I believe there was, maybe Nikolai will recall, but my notes tell me there was a leather-bound book with a gold chain wrapped around it. Not a book, but like I had a different word for it last week.
A thing of documentation wrapped around. That is the documents I have noted in my inventory.
Okay, which I'm assuming probably ended up in the bag at that point, along with everything else. Yep. And then the room that you suspect belonged to the person who had the office, which did not have any obvious books lying around. But you guys didn't really explore. You just sort of stuck your head in and went, yes, this is a bedroom, and then went back into the office.
Yeah, I'll just be poking around. Just spend an hour to like investigate all the rooms that we just sort of glanced at. Take my time, see if I can find anything interesting.
Okay.
I want to check the bedroom, just in case.
What are you looking for?
Love me some bedrooms. Nothing specific, honestly. Just anything of interest that can catch my eyes.
Okay.
Pretty vague, but you know.
Yeah. For the record, you love bedrooms? Dwarven bedrooms? Really not that nice looking, because their beds are just blocks of stone.
Still interesting, though.
Yeah, there's no pillow, there's no folded quilt. It's a big block of chunky stone, and it's the only reason why you think it's the bed is because there's like a nightstand next to it.
Hey, this is just personal room. Maybe there'll be something of interest.
Yeah, that's true. Kenna-Bear, what are you up to?
So we are taking this hour, huh?
Certainly seems that way.
Yeah, let's go see what we can get into. So I'm gonna go head back outside the building.
Okay. Back through the first door.
Yep, where the flowers are and that overhang is.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Edelweiss and Kenna, or just Edelweiss who made a check to see if these flowers were poisonous?
That was Gwen.
Yeah. So yeah, no one knew they were.
I
Only
checked to
Gwen
find
knew they were
out.
poisonous due to Gwen's ability to sense them with her divine power, and then
I
warn the
did-
party that they were poisonous.
Yeah.
I made a check to see if I recognized them, but I just did not have it high enough to get anything of notice.
So I was told they were poisonous.
You were told they were
at least,
poisonous.
and they're sweet smelling.
They're very sweet smelling.
Shamba, with your bear mouth.
I gotta make a roll real quick to see what I would do real fast.
Sure.
'Cause I'm stuck between 2 options.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Okay, that's a 4 out of a D4, so I'm gonna be intelligent at least.
That's nice.
And
Always good to hear.
Not roar as loud as possible into the over cabin with a dragon in it. So that was one option. So I won't do that, but
Oh, okay.
what I'll do is, knowing that it's gonna take time, I will drop my wild shape.
Okay.
So I'm a Kenna.
Yep.
And I would like to get my herbalism kit out of my backpack. And I would like to try and mess around with these flowers
Okay.
to see if I could derive a poison or a remedy for both. A remedy to the poison and a poison.
Okay. Well, the roll I'm going to ask you to make is going to decide that for you.
Okay.
So for Gwyn and Edelweiss, oh, that's stuck in my head now. Edelweiss, I want both of you to make investigation checks at advantage. And Kenna, I want you to make an herbalism kit check with intelligence to see how well you handle these things. It is an hour-long process for you to, as we say, fuck around and find out with this flower. So,
is it going to be an hour for one of the tries or for both?
it's for the roll will determine if you figure out both.
Okay.
So normally, so yes, you're right. Normally it'd be 1 hour for one attempt, but if your roll is high enough, you might just do both. Edelweiss, yes.
I low-key wanted to ask for a D4, but I'm not. But
If it makes you feel any better, well, you know what? Go ahead, roll a D4. It only matters if you actually roll a 4. Okay, so the outcome, it wouldn't have changed. I was willing to give it to you if you got there, though.
that's fine. I don't always think good at this stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you see in a moment, as soon as I figure out what Gwyn is up to.
Total 17.
Okay.
16 plus 1.
Okay, so we're gonna go down the list.
I also got a 17, 13 plus 4.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started with what I didn't find.
Well, so you actually go through. So you're in the officers' quarters, the individual who would have belonged to the big seat in the office. Dwarves are very utilitarian, and they keep things very simple. So there are a lot of things that are obvious that you don't find. There is an armor cabinet where it's very clear that a very heavy suit of armor would have been placed in here when the person wasn't wearing it, which is absent, which sort of tracks with the story you've gotten based off of the fact that you're pretty sure Nikolai is wearing this guy's helmet, aka the rest of his armor is probably in the lower cavern where all the other dwarven armor existed before Kenna turned into ash, weirdly. Then you find in the nightstand, rather, things you don't find, things that are completely empty, but there is a section in the stonework of the drawer that was very clearly worn, like something had been put there and then removed, and put there and then removed, like almost like a daily ritual. Not entirely sure what it was, though. The rest of the room, you can find that there's a wardrobe with several drawers in it, and 2 of which are filled with surprisingly well-kempt dwarven clothes. But they're not very fine. If anything, they're incredibly plain. They are a stone gray color and trimmed in gold, almost like everything else here. And they're fairly standard, like... they'd be the equivalent to like a cotton long pants and a shirt for people in the military for when they're off duty. That's basically what these are for dwarves. They even have the little gold dragon head embroidered into the chest pocket. It really seems like everything else that you'd expect to find in a person's room that would make it personable isn't here anymore. Or if it was here, it was never here to begin with. There's a lot of absence. Gwen?
My wife's fence is more boring than I thought it would.
Gwen, going through the break room? Question mark? Or are you just kind of going through a little bit of everything?
Yeah, just a little bit of everything. Just snooping, trying to find anything.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, you guys have already sort of poured through the office. Everything of interest has been discovered there, more or less. So the break room is the next room over. Everything here is pretty straightforward with the exception of the very large floor-to-ceiling stone cabinets. And when you start sort of poking through them, you find several metal canisters that they have these metal bands wrapped around the top that when you sort of unclasp them, they hiss when you open it. And as expected, you find food stores contained in some of these. Unfortunately, especially for your fine sense of smell, some things in here did not hold up well. So you get a couple of puffs of old, rotten food in your nose, which, makes your face scrunch up and you kind of like immediately sort of turn away in revulsion. But then you manage to find a couple of them that have a lot of dried salted meats, which are actually holding up very well. Granted, you're not sure if they're edible. You need to find a brave soul willing to try it first. The one thing you find out of the ordinary in the break room in all the food cabinets is that stuck to the inside of one of the cabinets is a piece of parchment that has had some sort of like tacky, sticky substance stuck to the back and stuck to the inside. There's an old dwarven scrawl on it. You're one of the people that reads dwarven, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Again, the dialect is very old. Dwarven's evolved quite a bit since then, but you can more or less get the gist of it. Which the shorthand version of it is, it's a threat from one of the other dwarves to stop one of the other dwarves from eating his personal stash of snacks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's... Other than that, there's really nothing unusual in the break room.
Alright.
When you go into the armory, the last room in this place, and you kind of parse through the very scarce remnants of what's here, you actually find, other than the crossbows that are here and the bolts that are left with them, everything else has been taken. Again, it looks like there was something that happened and everyone was like, all right, grab weapons, armor, we have to go do a thing. And then they just never came back. You find in this room, underneath one of these stout tables, tucked away, like it sort of fell and someone kicked it with a boot and it skittered, and no one noticed, a white, gold, and emerald studded ring.
Ooh. Pick that up.
It's, as expected of the Dwarven culture, it is incredibly beautiful. It is mastercraft level work. It has a huge emerald in the middle, and then 2 emeralds on either side that dotted along the edges. And there are flower motifs that are etched into the band. It's very, very, very pretty.
This might be a little bit to call it ahead of time. A little too late to say this, but could I say that I've... No, because it only lasts 10 minutes. Alright, once I find it, I would like to pop off a detect magic. See if there's anything interesting about it.
Sure. There is no magical signature to the ring.
Alright.
And even if you take... Because detect magic 10 minutes, you can cursorily walk through the other rooms. There are no other magical things that you're unaware of. As in, the windows all detect magical. Several of the items in the office detect as magic, but nothing else stands out.
Mm-hmm. And so, in the armory, you said that there were crossbows, bolts, and some sets of armor, or pieces of armor?
No armor whatsoever. Just the 2 crossbows and 2 sets of bolts.
Alright. How do the crossbows look? Like, how do they look?
In great shape.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Honestly, you've not seen crossbows of this design. Again, this is what the dwarves were doing a couple hundred years ago, maybe even longer. Because the last understanding was Stenmir was in use several centuries ago. Mm-hmm. You're not sure how old this installation is beneath it, or rather in the mountain that Stenmir was a part of. So yeah, the style and design is several centuries old and past. Dwarven crossbows have since changed in appearance. But they look fine. They probably need a little maintenance, a little oiling, and some maybe some care to see how the tension's holding up on their launching mechanisms. But they seem fine. There's no rust, no dust is gathered. You think you could probably load a cartridge into it and fire, and it'd probably work.
Am I familiar with dwarven crossbows?
Man, that's a great question. Make a history check.
Just like practically.
Yeah.
Have I ever had an...
Yeah. We're gonna find out.
Okay. History?
Mm-hmm.
Could be better. Huh. That's an 8.
Okay. You fired one. You've probably seen people like maintain them. You're not like intimate with it. Can you fight with one? Absolutely. Do you know any of the nitty gritty details about caring for one long term? Not really.
Would I have enough confidence to try to deconstruct this one and like
And put
examine
it back
clean
together? Or just deconstruct it?
Deconstruct it, examine it, put it back together. And work in order.
Based off of the roll, you're not super confident. Because, like, your knowledge doesn't hold out. You could be confident that you believe in yourself and you could do it, but the roll is telling you you don't know well enough. And even then, the types of crossbows that you've seen people use weren't these.
All right.
So that's entirely up to you.
How much do these things weigh?
They are heavy. These bad boys, they weigh. Oh, hang on. Let me get a quick reference note for what normal heavy crossbows for casuals are, and then I'm gonna go off of that. Yeah, I said casuals.
Shh. I'm sorry if I'm shushing. It's because I'm talking to my dog.
Don't you shush me.
I'm not disrespecting you, Dyer.
These are about 40 pounds.
That's a big boy.
Yeah, a normal heavy crossbow is about 18. These are 40, which would also sort of support the reason why the way they handle and grip them are differently, is that they use their own body as sort of a firing platform.
I mean, they are bipod height.
Master craftsmen, they know what they're doing. They know exactly how to use themselves.
May I interrupt to say something mildly important to you, Dyer?
Sure.
It's mildly, but you didn't put links for the session and the server.
Oh, that's fair. For the record, I'm not the only one that can do that. Everyone could do that if they'd like.
No, but sometimes you put it in a channel that only you can put it in.
Alright. Yeah, she's gonna look over it, puzzle on it for a minute. I'm gonna roll something. Okay. And sling it over her shoulder with a fair amount of bolts, and go outside and check on Kenna.
Okay. You're hauling a lot more extra weight with you, and you go outside to check on Kenna, who, over the course of the last hour, while you guys have sort of been fumbling about and looking through things, Kenna, you were successful in managing to create a injury-based poison from these flowers, aka something you can coat onto a weapon of some kind and cause harm with. But you were unable to find an antidote in the same vein, in the same time frame. If you have more time, you could probably figure one out.
Within that time, since I couldn't get an antidote or a remedy, could I just like pocket some of the flowers?
You can harvest a couple.
Okay. Injury, right?
Injury, yeah.
So it has to enter the bloodstream. It can't be ingested, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is, in fact, a nuance for the types of poison in D&D.
Correct.
Inhale,
I know.
injury,
Yep.
and ingest.
Yep. Would I have been able to know this while making it? It doesn't do any harm on skin or body parts that aren't broken skin, right? That doesn't have an injury?
Well, Well, you made a 17 check for handling this. You would have figured out handling it with bare skin causes no ill effects. You think if someone were just to eat one of the flowers, they would probably make themselves sick. They would end up, to explain it more plainly, they would end up with a poison condition based off of X, which would be equal to their Constitution modifier. Assuming they failed their save. The poison that you distill from this needs to hit the bloodstream in order for it to take effect in the way that you found most potent. So, will it kill someone? No. Well, the flowers, as they are, will they kill someone? No. They don't cause skin irritation. They can be handled well. I feel like I had another comma somewhere in there, but I forgot it.
It's okay. This could handicap myself later, but would I be able to say that the poison I managed to create, I put all in one glass jar, not in small vials?
Well, given that you're working in a small time frame, you were able to make enough for a single dose.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one vial anyway. Because everything in D&D likes to be measured in 1 ounce measurements.
Yeah. Is a vial an ounce? Is that how it is?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
So there are actual items called vials.
Yeah.
Versus like when you talk about poisons and potions, they're typically 1 ounce. Actually, I think item vials are 5 ounces. I'll check real quick, but. 4 ounces of liquid. I was close.
I just know that the herbalism kit components is several glass jars, so I didn't know.
I mean, you could put it in a jar.
Cool.
It's
That's
just,
all I care about.
yeah.
I'm not trying to get more amount. I just want it in a jar.
Oh yeah. You can put it in a jar. It's fine. Yeah, you got jars. You got jars. You got vials. You can put in whatever you want.
Cool.
Your herbalism kit. You can do what you want. Well, then I think in a nice narrative way, you're sort of just putting the top on the jar and securing it as Kenna comes strolling out of the door nearby with one of those heavy dwarven crossbows slung over her shoulder.
Oh, where'd you get that, Kenna? I don't know, Kenna. Where did I get that from?
Been busy? Unless
Yeah.
I did walk out to Kenna talking to herself, at which point there's some bigger things to address.
No. I only said that because he called you Kenna.
Yeah.
Oops. In my defense, I've had Quina stuck in my head all day, so I'm trying not to say that, and so that's when that happens. I don't separate you sometimes.
Yeah,
We got him.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, we got it.
the ship is official.
I'm so upset. Anyways, I forgot what you asked me. I'll be real honest.
Been busy?
I suppose. Puts jar in bag before seeing. Puts bag on backpack. Puts bag on back.
Does she have like a workstation scattered around her still, or is she all
No, not anymore.
Okay.
Kenna has a good workflow. It's not. She's tidied up already.
Damn, okay. Yeah, well... The others, about what time is this? Is this at the conclusion of the hour?
Yeah, this is at the end of the hour.
The others, should probably be getting done with everything just about now. Hey, have you had a chance to look at these flowers, by any chance?
Yeah. They're pretty.
They sure are. I'd like to fool around with them if I get a chance. Which reminds me, Dyer, I took some samples of the flowers down here. About how many would you say I was able to take?
There are a ton. How many do you want to gather? It's more of how much time did you take?
Let's just go with 6. It was last session. I don't.
Yeah,
remember, so
yeah. You can very casually take 6. There are hundreds, and from the window, you're aware of probably tens of thousands.
Good to know.
Yes.
But you seem to be a skilled alchemist yourself. I could use your help if you have a minute later.
Of course. By the way, careful. They're dangerous. You told me that.
I remember.
Wait, when your memory catches up to what you're about to say.
She just smiles. I remember. The crossbow wasn't the only thing I found, though, and I imagine we're walking back at this point, but if not, that's fine, too. And she'll just, like, flick the ring in Kinna's direction. Take a look at this.
I'll just catch it and
Mm-hmm.
look at it.
Mm-hmm. It's very
It's not
pretty.
magical, but it's pretty.
Good. White gold, emeralds, flower motifs, and vines. Honestly, very, very not dwarven. In terms of a lot of the motifs.
It is a nice ring.
I don't have much use for it, and I think I've been holding on to most of the valuable things around, so... Well, you're the first person I ran into. Why don't you hold on to it for a minute?
Well, thank you. I will look after it. It might come in use later.
Could be. She'll just turn and start walking back to the others.
Okay. Noble boys.
Oh yeah. I'd like to think at this point, like Lars and Nikolai have like sat cross-legged, exchanging notes.
Yep. Paper scattered around you with different diagram ideas and thoughts of how the locks are set up.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and we've like sort of like conversed, talked about it, put it in theory,
Mhm.
and then as they're walking down, Lars is kind of like getting ready to like thread the needle again and see what he can produce.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, probably from wow, loud. He actually with that.
Someone's in the well? What happened?
What is that? There's a golden dragon at the bottom of an endless pit.
That's kind of accurate. Okay. Nikolai and Motherhine, here you are.
Yeah.
So make me that Tinker's Tools check. You have a +4.
Yeah, D20 +4.
Yep.
Sweet.
Because
If I
it's
am there,
2 from
I
your
will give
proficiency
a good
bonus. No, you are not there for the good touch.
Okay.
So I need to do this.
I'm
so I need
really
to
bad
do
at telling time.
it's an advantage because
Nikolai is helping you.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. I'll roll twice.
Yeah.
That's a 19 +4. for the
That's
first
great.
one, and that's a 13 +4 for these for 17. So yeah.
All right, so we're going to go with the 23, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
This is important. Which of the 2 doors did you do first?
Left.
Left. Okay. So you work on the left one with Nikolai hovering over your shoulder as you're sort of working with your Tinker's Tools and giving a step-by-step about what you're feeling as you're kind of working through the mechanism. And then Nikolai's, no, remember the thing we talked about? And when you hit that, you have to go over there. And you guys sort of work your way through, like, step-by-step. Whenever you feel something, you say it out loud and you talk through the process. Eventually, you work the entire locking mechanism into pieces, and the door swings open.
At this victory, Lars will sort of pull everything out and go, yes, and tap Nikolai on the shoulder and be like, thank you. That was good work. Very good work.
Yes, a very tired yes also. Because he is still rather exhausted.
Lars will put 2 fingers to his lips and give a brief whistle to get everyone's attention and pack up the notes and the Tinker's Tools very quickly. Well, not totally pack up the Tinker's Tools because he might be asked to open the other door again.
Yep.
But he's just like, pack everything up.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you're so caught up in the victory of this door, you're just like, everyone, come see what we did. You do. Everyone's kind of trending in that direction, and in the order of Edelweiss first, and then about 10-15 seconds behind Edelweiss is Gwen and Kenna. That descend the stairs. The door is opened before you on the left side, at the end of the hallway where they are. And none of you can quite see until the light source gets a little bit closer, except for Edelweiss, and you can see when the door swung open down the hallway about another 50 or so feet. It reaches a small room, and you can see a set of stairs that ascends at the end. The rest of you, if any of you were so bold as to walk further in with a torch, would also discover this.
Now Lars is waiting at the entrance.
Yeah,
I mean, Kenna starts heading down. This kind of passes Lars. Good job.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without Nikolai's help. Got a good noggin on that, on those shoulders of his.
She's like walking right past you, and he sure does most of the time, and just keeps on walking. I'm heading in the tunnel. I'm going.
Okay. Well, then after about halfway down, Kenna, you will see the entrance to the room at the end with the stairs that ascend.
Gwen motions for like the others to go on ahead of her. We came this far.
Okay,
Yes.
I was going to go last, but fine, and Lars will...
Or suit yourself, and Gwen cuts ahead of him.
Okay, fine. And he'll continue with the group.
If I walk into the room,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like walking down the stairs, walking downstairs, and then I see an entrance to a room.
So you would descend down the stairs from the office, get at the landing, fork left and right. You look left where you know the door was, 25 feet to the door, and then 50 feet from the door, there's another room, except this room is very small. It's a 10 by 10, with the far wall that has a set of stairs in the room that goes up.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just go into the room, and then when I see people, coming into his room, I'll just start going up.
Okay. This set of stairs looks very familiar in that it is almost identical to the style of stairs you all tunneled to free up back in Stenmere, in terms of the very tight turning corners as you ascend.
Nah, I keep going.
When Lars recognizes this, he'll sort of say to himself, "Dragon."
No.
Yeah, Lars.
Being shushed, he'll slowly turn around and just still say and still say, "Dragon room," and then keep
Dragon?
walking.
Shush, Lars.
She didn't shush him.
Yes.
Nope, you said it. It happened in character.
Can I? So I kind of waited for them to come towards the room where they'd be walking in before as I went in to the other stairs. Can I make my way ahead enough of the group so that our footsteps are separate? Our footsteps would be separate, footfalls.
Yeah, you could if you wanted.
I would like to be soft-footed.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask for then, don't you?
Correct. That's why I did it.
Yes. For those of you not keeping up, I meant a stealth check.
That's not the best. What is my stealth again?
At least a +2.
Okay. So I got a 10. I got an 8 plus 2.
Okay. Completely average.
Yep. I'm just making sure that feature does not have any other benefits besides taking 10 minutes. It does not, Roger. Yep. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, straight 10.
You are doing your best to cover up the sounds of your footfalls. Everyone else,
Am I able to see without produce flame?
there is no light in here, so no. You would require some sort of light. Unless you want to cast dark vision on yourself.
I'm assuming someone has a torch at least.
But Kenna's ahead of you guys.
Gwen
Oh,
would.
she is.
Yep.
Yeah. Walking out of the lit area, I will spend a spell slot to do dark vision.
Okay. In which case you can see fine in the dark.
She'd rather do that and not give herself away as much as possible.
Okay. In which case, Kenna, you are ahead, trying to muffle the sounds of your footfalls. You can see in the dark, which there is not much to see other than, again, winding stairs. perfectly square room with the stairs just hitting every 90-degree angle and catching up. Again, very reminiscent of the stairs in Stenmeyer that took you down to where you found Kalina. Everyone else, I'm assuming you are following suit as you watch Kenna begin ascending and vanish out of view.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then one by one, you all begin trundling up these stairs. It is much to your chagrin that you are doing this for a solid 30 minutes.
Oof.
And it's just stairs upon stairs upon stairs upon stairs upon stairs.
I'm
It's
sorry,
like a baby.
Nikolai.
Kenna, you're the first person to hear, after a solid, like I said, after about a solid 25, 30 minutes, you are the first person to hear the sounds of running water. And then distinctly, the sound of a canine barking.
I know the canine.
It's echoey, and it's a bit distant, so I don't know, you are more than welcome to make a... Again,
Wait a second.
what?
You said I hear running water.
Yeah,
I hear a canine barking.
a canine barking,
Can I-
yes.
Can I tell what kind of barking?
You can make a nature check.
Fantastic.
Oh, is it?
What were you
No,
going to
just-
say?
Nope. Tell me your number.
I'm trying to see, did nature level up on me? Is it
No,
is
it
plus-
shouldn't have.
Nope, it's a +4. Okay, I got an 8.
Oh, yeah, that is great. Well, it sounds like a dog barking. I mean, it's canine. It's not very large. It's what you'd expect to be something of an average wolf size, maybe. It doesn't sound like it's alarmed or like frightened or being attacked or anything, if that's what you're thinking. Just a dog barking.
I continue to the top, or did I get to the top?
I wasn't sure what you were going to do. If you keep walking,
Yeah.
okay. Another short few minutes where you
will.
eventually... You will?
She would keep walking, but at half speed,
Okay.
trying to see if she can pick up any other noise, if there's any other like scattering or footprints or anything like that.
Right.
So she would be walking at half speed.
All right. Make a perception check then. Let's see what you can hear. Or let's hear what you can hear. I don't know.
14.
All right. As you slow your pace and you begin ascending, you're listening a bit more carefully. You don't hear any footsteps other than the occasional footfall of someone behind you down the stairs. You don't hear anything in front of you other than, again, running water, a dog barking, and then occasionally what sounds like a dog wading rapidly into a body of water. And then after you take a moment, still listening, you catch a sweet floral scent on the edge of your nose. It is familiar.
Okay. I return back to normal, just going up.
Okay.
But I've dropped my sense of trying to stay quiet, and now I'm just going up at normal kind of speeds.
All right. Kenna, you will be the first person to reach another landing at the top of these stairs, but the stonework, other than the stairs themselves, all around you is unworked earth. It looks like these stairs were sort of unnaturally created and just a part of the cave. And when you've reached them, you find yourself standing in a small cutout with a bit of a glance towards the structure that you know has all the gold dragon motif down below in the same area Kalina usually rests. Another handful or so of minutes, the rest of you. So it's just, yeah, it's back here. For the sake of ease, I probably should draw an appropriate line. There. And somewhere else in the cavern, you can just hear the sounds of what sounds like an animal splashing in water. The rest of you, you're about a minute behind Kenna. So after a couple of moments of climbing up these stairs...
I'll call and see if... I'm kind of worried, but I'll still try and call out and see if Portia responds.
Okay. Actually, Ken's got a very good... Portia has a very good passive perception. You'll make a call out, and the cave will go silent for a moment. And then you will hear a sounding bark echo back.
Yeah, I'll step forward at that point and try to call her over.
Walking together from between these rocks over here, you will see both Kalina and Portia emerge.
Okay.
The rest of you are just about now catching up. You're getting just to the top of the stairs, where it's very obvious. You would have heard the chirp from Portia.
So I would recognize that, I'm guessing.
Yeah, all of you, you would be very familiar with it. The rest of you just go, oh yes, that's a dog barking. Especially Gwen, who has great hearing.
Yeah, Lars will just say, that's Portia, we've made it back. And Charlotte will, sorry, not Charlotte, Lars will run up the stairs. Sorry, I was looking at Charlotte.
You just call Charlotte a dog? How dare you?
Gwen will make her way out from behind the waterfall and just shuck her pack and everything she's been carrying and shuck her boots down in the water. So her feet. So now that we made it out, what's the plan?
Well, I can identify one last item of the items that we do have, and then I'll be out of juice and would like to take a rest, but since we're in a safer area for now, that is entirely possible. We still have, well, actually, I don't know how much time we have left. We've been down here a while.
Sure. Anybody know what time it is?
It's lunchtime.
We
Fair
have
enough.
Yeah, that's
lots
about
of
right.
time left then.
Well, I think spending the day resting is pretty much all you need. And she nods towards Nikolai.
Suppose we could report our finding to Kalina, considering the door that is in this room.
Well, like that, now we can, now we know how, some safe ways to get around the mountain area without having to go outside.
Indeed.
We also know that
Intend on staying in today, even though we have time left. Nikolai, I think you should tell Kalina about our finding. I am going
As I
to.
said.
Yep. Kenna just looks and then it's like, I can't sit around. I get too bored, so I'm gonna head back through these tunnels and go close the door to that building.
I will I would still. I'm just saying we take some time to rest here a bit, only maybe an hour or two, identify some of these items, and then I wouldn't mind going back down there to either try and get that other door open, or exploring what's left of the tunnel. Because we went down here, the tunnels still continued on past that.
How are you feeling, relatively speaking? That was quite a walk off upwards, and you're already rather weak.
How am I feeling?
Unpleasant. You
One
have
exhaustion level, and you
healing fractures all over your body. You're recovering from hypothermia, and you just had to climb for 30 minutes very squat flights of stairs. You're not feeling great.
Maybe Glenn can carry me down.
I think you should stay here, boss. Ken, I wouldn't recommend going alone, but if you can't find anyone to go with you, and you get too bored sitting still, I can't fight you on it. But for you, rest. And for you, whatever keeps you from going stir crazy. Just be safe. If we want to get back out there into those tunnels, they'll be there tomorrow. They'll be there 3 hours from now. It doesn't quite matter, but...
For the record, the tunnels where they forked, before you guys descended down to where you found the Dwarven ruins, going down, you were very keenly aware that they opened up into another cavern area with another druid camp. Which meant very likely there was another exit that requires another druidic type of magic to open and then exit somewhere else.
I think among us, Kenna's the only one who is welcome among those caves we were traveling through. So I'd hate to step on any toes. Using what was
You
never...
wouldn't step on any. You wouldn't step on any toes if there are no toes to be stepped on.
Using what was never intended for me and leaving a trace of that. A little more disrespectful than you might imagine.
This fort wasn't intended for us, but we've been staying here for a long time, so at this point it doesn't exactly matter.
Well, you feel up to it. Let's get back at it.
Like I said, let's wait here and for a little bit. Let Kenna go do her thing. Identify some of these items, since some of them are magical. They may be useful in our travels. So.
Fair enough.
Now, Kalina, how have you been this last day and so?
While you guys were having your conversation, she sort of strolled back off towards the river.
Okay. Well, then I go to her and kind of bring her back so we can discuss.
All right. She goes back, settles at a spot in the river. You come and fetch her. She gets back up, falls back.
Apologies.
She does not leave the greenery, however. Kind of like a person staring at... she stares at the stone floor like someone might stare at lava. Like stepping on it would cause her great harm.
Oh, we're still on that side.
And you guys, wherever you want to be.
I was closer to out near the riverside and such. How have you been the last day or so?
I have been fine. Portia has been good company to me. It has been nice to have someone sit here and talk with me for a time.
So, I remember when we first came down here and pulled you from the knot that descended from the ceiling, there was something dangerous behind that door. And Gwen just sort of like nods her head towards it.
And there still is.
Well, as it were, there's something even more dangerous, far enough below us to, well, not quite far enough below us to assuage any harm or fear that it might instill. And I could just go ahead and fill her in on what it was that we found down there.
And in a somewhat dry response, she just goes, I know.
So, beyond that, just a door more directly downwards or something else? I nod towards the door in the cavern.
The one with the big gold dragon head on it?
Yeah.
I do not know exactly what it is, but it is the key to unleashing the dragon. I heard the dwarves speak that in order to keep the creature where it is, they had to separate part of it and lock it up here as a precaution.
And does it live as it should, or is it dormant in some way?
As it is, it might as well be a mountain of metal. It is only with what is behind that door that it can truly become a whole being again.
If I remember correctly, the metallic dragons were the more preferable side for beings like us, I guess. I guess more good aligned than not. Why were they trying to keep it here, like locked up, instead of working with it like a protector? It doesn't seem sensical.
Your knowledge is correct, Nikolai. They are called protectorate dragons for a reason. I do not know why they have done this. But they went through great pains, ones that inevitably cost them their lives, to keep this dragon chained up the way that it is.
Wait, do you know what happened to the pile of bones we found then? Or...
I was not there for the moments in which they were felled, but I am certain as to the outcome.
I see.
My memories have become more clear every day I've been awake. And with each passing day, I remember more and more as to what happened here.
Then, would you be familiar with the plants we saw growing?
Yes, they are mine. They are one of the numerous ways they kept me to protect this entire place. It allows me to sense the life in the cavern, and if anything is there. It was a way for me to warn them of potential incursions if someone was attempting to undo their work.
So your roots lay so far away as well. Did you notice our passing?
Yes, I was aware of you.
I see.
So, do you know how far this fortress goes? Are you familiar with its layout?
No, not intimately. Just the parts in which they have forced me to grow into. Which, as far as I'm aware, is this structure here, and she'll gesture to the cavern that you are all standing in. The building above, where the trees have grown, and then the cavern, where the dragon is kept. That's all I'm aware of.
You say you can detect life through these vines.
That is correct.
You're certain that it is inert.
It is more difficult to accurately describe the state of the dragon, in that they do not live traditionally as you or these plants might. With whatever they've taken from it being absent, it cannot act. If it were to be reunited with it, it would most certainly reanimate the beast.
Had you ever encountered it before, well, before you were entombed here?
No. I was brought here after all of the buildings and the creature was shackled here. I was then forced to grow into various places to act as a watcher, as a first line of defense should people come searching for this place.
Go ahead.
No, just Edelweiss is kind of frowning every time they hear the suggestion of her being forced to do grow or do X thing. Just description.
Kalina, were you aware of anything else they were doing to the beast besides separating the piece to keep it inert or non-functioning? Were they, if you could tell, like, could you tell if they were like experimenting on it or trying to alter it or some way?
As far as I know, once they had put it there and they had planted me to grow, they never set foot back in the bottom of the cavern again. I believe they are keeping it prisoner and hoping that no one finds it. And in this location, they hope to keep it secret, with their having dug into the mountain.
Would... This is a long thought, but if we were able to get open that door and help free the dragon, because I'm not exactly keen on keeping and letting that stay as a prisoner, would you be against us freeing it?
I only know of what the Enchantress taught us about dragons, which are those made to protect or beings of law and order, powerful creatures that lived for the sole purpose of protecting mortal life. I would not understand why a group of individuals would so desperately work to keep one contained. To me, it would make sense that the beast should be free. But the wisdom of my having been trapped here for so long tells me that perhaps there was a reason why they imprisoned it. If perhaps you can figure out the why, then maybe the decision as to whether or not it should be freed will become more clear.
In that case, Lars, maybe before we try and open up that door, and he'll nod his head towards the one in the cavern, we should try and open up the one on the fork to the right. Maybe if we can get into the cavern, we can see. Trying to understand more.
I don't know anything about such history, right? About the metallic dragons, right?
You can make a history check. It's kind of big, broad, encompassing history, so it's whether or not if you've done any reading.
I just want to know, like, what of my main question is, what of the other metallic dragons?
Dyer.
That's a 20.
Ooh, nice.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good considering I have a +2.
Yeah, well, so Edelweiss, your historical knowledge of dragons is a bit different from Nikolai's. Nikolai's was definitely more of a reading up on the interest of the creation of the beings and the way that they sort of function and work, and that they're more or less one of the world's greatest instances of a magical creation that was meant to be a construct but became something living and alive. But given your propensity for certain types of reading, you've heard many tales from various authors and poets talking about both dragons of the Protectorate variation and of the Primordial variation. But what exactly would you like to know?
I just want to know, like I just said, what of the other metallic dragons? Because, you know, the idea of what we know, where's the dragon down here? What do the other dragon? Where are the other dragons? Are they active and around, or are they
All right.
someplace else?
Well,
Just
this
to
is
understand what kind of behavior they have.
That's very easy to answer. So, going back with the earlier knowledge that Nikolai sort of unearthed, which you have in different pieces, but not from the same sources, so it's a little less scientific and more just from how the way they were portrayed in stories, which is they each harvested energy in different ways. Protectorate dragons became stronger by doing their job and naturally just grew when a life flourished around them. But because of that, when the war ended and the primordial dragons had been beaten and pretty much all completely destroyed in what is now called the Ruination of Kalur, which for the record is what the name of the year is based off of, Arc. It's after the Ruination of Kalur. So that occurred roughly about 3,000 years ago. Somewhat recent.
That's how it's pronounced.
Yes, the Ruination of Kalur. Kalur was the primordial red dragon and the leader of of all primordial dragons. When the war finished and the dragons were no longer needed because life was now going to flourish because there was no direct antagonist trying to wipe them out of existence, the title bearers saw fit to take the first Protectorate dragons and grant them realms of power. So each of the original Protectorate dragons, the first dragons, the most powerful dragons, were given planes of existence to reside in. And all of their dragons of their respective types went to live with them there. And it is now, to account for the power of the Protectorate dragons, they instead sponsor various groups on Eldarth to maintain order and keep peace and encourage life. There are a handful of them, each one that is headed by one of the Protectorate dragons. You have on Runan, the League of the Shining Scale, which is headed by Crixix, the Gold Dragon. On Kondrasa, hang on, let me go actually pull up my big world notes, because boy, is there a lot of information on this one.
Wait, the what dragon?
The Gold Dragon.
Excuse me.
Hang on, let me get my big old list of dragons and their crazy names. Okay, so you have Crixix, the Gold Dragon, who sponsors a group called the League of the Shining Scale. They are responsible for keeping peace and order on the continent of Rudan. During the Great Creation War, one of the Protectorate dragons, which was a twin dragon, actually perished. His name was Kraylor. He was a silver dragon, but was killed by Abanus, the black dragon. And it is said historically,
Bastard.
it is said historically that killing Kraylor was part of Abanus' plan to allow him to ascend into godhood. Then there's Arian, the Kraylor's sister, the other twin, who is a silver dragon and oversees Iradu, the northernmost continent. There's Kuzin, the brass dragon, who sponsors a group called the Kopar Armada, which is what it sounds like. It is an enormous navy that literally sails all around the world and basically helps people and deals with issues where needed. You have Eladir, the bronze dragon, who is responsible for overseeing Silgaris, which is in a bit of a predicament right now, from what Nikolai can recall. And then you have Rahesh, which is the copper dragon. That is the protector dragon that oversees Kendrasa. The group, the organization responsible for Kendrasa is called the Shalseer. And they have individuals that literally travel in pairs, and they walk and patrol all around Kendrasa, regardless of how enormous the continent is. And they literally just will walk place to place and go, "Hey, you guys doing all right? Everything cool? Nice." And then they move on. And they enforce law and order on a... Cosmic is a little bit too large of a scale, but they basically go, "Is anyone murdering people or doing things that are summoning demons? No? Great." And then they move on.
What's that, Lars? Real quick.
And thanks to a pun that came up in one of the earlier games where the Shalseer actually somebody impersonated a Shalseer agent. There is now the joke, the fact that they more or less walk beats, as you'd expect law enforcement officers to do, and because they're from the Copper Dragon, they're called Coppers.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's not
so
my fault.
good.
That's not my fault, but I do love it to
No,
death.
you can meet it any other dragon.
Good.
No, but I didn't make it. Like, I made him that, and then another player made me realize that's what it was. I didn't realize what I was doing when I did it.
Then it's their fault.
Yes, and then every so often on roads, even less traveled roads, there are Shalseer way stations where there is a small squad of Shalseer officers that are constables that are stationed that will, if necessary, take people in, give them shelter for a period of time, feed them, heal them, or if necessary, if there's a local emergency, they will go see to it. And yeah, so the Shalseer are responsible for Kendrasa. They have not been mobilized as an army in some time, but when they do, the Shalseer are famous for their dragoon troopers, which Rahesh uses their magic granted by their plane to open up portals in the sky, and they have literal soldiers that drop from thousands of feet in the air with weapons and fall like meteors to crush enemies. They are infamous for very, very flashy tactics.
That's
So-
cool.
So, to answer, the short answer is, all metallic dragons do not casually exist on the home plane. They all live in different planes, and they are summoned. The actual physical dragons are only summoned in times of great emergency. Otherwise, the armies that I just went through describing are the ones responsible for seeing to that. Where there's usually one person that is typically in charge that is given power by the ancient dragons that represent their orders to wield some of their strength on the home plane, much like how how title bearers do with champions.
Cool. Dragon gods.
Kind of, yeah. Like low-key, more or less.
To kind of below them because title bearers made them, but they have the similar properties.
Yeah,
So,
with the exception of the fact they've, because of the way they grow, because life has been flourishing, they don't gain power the same way they used to because they're not on the same plane of existence, but because life is flourishing so well in the universe, they're still growing in strength. So if every title bearer decided to become evil and tried to end the universe, they would be able to now step up and probably stop them.
You new gods.
Yes. Also, low-key, Fae, in general, really don't like them at all.
I mean, they're metal.
Well,
That's the thing.
they're metal. Besides that, they're also literally, because remember,
Yeah.
denizens of the Feywild were primordial sympathizers.
Wow.
So when the war started, they were like, "You guys who like us primordials, here's a new world. Go live there, where we kill all these other guys in this other place, because we don't want you getting involved in the messy things." And so Fae, for a long time, were very worried that when the title bearers with their dragons finished the war, that they were going to go to the primal wilds to then finish them off because they supported the primordials, and people
But you just
people
say
are
that.
dreading that day. So yeah, just
But now
low
it's
key,
like-
just low key, so you know that,
Oh, I know.
protectorate dragons, Fae not super fond of them. You have no reason to fear them because that gruesome attack never came. But a lot of the people that are in the higher rungs of society are like, no, one day it's going to happen, and we're going to be ready for it.
Inherently, I am, So basically, there's one of each color, except for the silver one, and one is.
Yes, well, yeah. So there was one. Now there is one of each color. Originally,
the
there.
gold one.
Originally, there were 2 silver dragons. It's important to note. So it's important to note the first dragons are the big bosses. Like they run everything. But there are still hundreds of other colors of the same dragon.
Okay, so basically you found the dragon copy.
Yes,
of
you found another gold dragon that, for some odd reason, is down here. So yes, there are thousands of dragons, each with their own personalities and ideas. Granted, not originally. As time went on, they developed those traits.
There's the boss. There's one of each color, a boss dragon, a big boss.
Yes.
Dragon, and then there's a bunch of little ones that are not little, but not as a big boy.
Because linearly speaking, first dragons, they were first, and therefore they've been gathering power for the longest period of time. Seniority does not necessarily make a dragon more powerful. It's actively doing their function makes them more powerful. So the fact that this dragon down below, for instance, is a relatively big boy, he was doing some work for a period of time until he got shoved down here in a hole.
A quote unquote random dragon. So we have no idea what this dragon is like.
Yeah, or how long he's been down here. Because for all you know, the dwarves could have been moving him every millennia or so to make sure people didn't realize they had a gold dragon shackled up somewhere.
Now the dwarves haven't been here and it's abandoned.
Yeah.
So
because the last time dragons were on this plane of existence was about 3,000 years ago, actively. Again, occasionally 1 or 2 will show up for serious emergencies, but then people would also tend to notice that they went missing. So this one's probably been missing for a couple millennia.
2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
I was also gonna have.
also, just
Go
before you guys start, do remember to write all the names down. Thank you. Unless it's
Yes,
urgent.
please. So many names were dropped.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a VOD. I've given up on notes for this session. There's gonna be a VOD. I'm gonna go.
Well,
back
there's gonna be a VOD,
But-
but just for
There's gonna be
spelling,
a-
I'll hook you guys up.
Names.
I'm just literally gonna
You
copy
don't
paste
have
out of my
to write
notes.
this down.
Okay,
Thank you.
but 2
you.
questions. 1, what happened to the other dragons?
That's very vague. Which other dragons?
So you say the first of them got planes of power and became akin to gods.
Kind of.
What happened to the others?
They all went with them.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
Right.
Big Papa and Mama dragons, the title bearers, were like, all right, here's a new home for you to go live in, and all their respective colors went with them
All right.
because their job more or less was finished. So it's like, here, go live in this perfect paradise where you get to enjoy life, unless we need to call upon you again. And that's just how it is. They're just chilling.
This is essentially a kidnapped child that is locked in a dwarf basement and has been for 3,000 years.
At minimum, kind
Oh,
of.
fine, another kidnapped
I mean, if you
child.
dare, if you want to call a dragon a child, yes.
Not to its face, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, because for the record, most dragons sort of all came about during the Great Creation War, were actually created during that time. So this thing could be in an unfathomable amount of years old. Because the Great Creation War, current era, no one really knows when it happened. It's all sort of nebulous. So unless you talk to a god that lived during that time period, no one really knows the exact number. So this thing could be hundreds of thousands of years old.
Yeah.
Possible.
Second question. Were there any specific holdings for dragons that I have ever known under my current tenants or my past tenants?
Holdings?
Was there any specific, not holdings, but beliefs, reverence, anything ideas around them? This is more pertinent to who I was before.
Yeah. Well, make a history check.
Don't fuck me. That is gonna be re-rolled because that's a natural 1. I didn't mean to roll that. I dropped it. That's a natural 1. Okay. That's a natural 2. So for 3.
Dragons, they're kind of weird, yo.
Yeah. So never knew nothing about them.
No, other than, again, metallic dragons, people will give respect to, because as far as history is told, they were responsible for keeping mortal life alive. And without them, they would have all died, and you wouldn't be having this conversation anymore. So people are like, metal dragons, pretty cool stuff. Primordial dragons, screw those guys. So people give reverence to them. Some people might have, like, in towns, they might have small shrines where, you know, you pay respect to them by throwing in types of their metal to, like, a fountain or something. And then it's later gathered and then created into an idol of some kind. You know, stuff like that. But, like, there's no huge dragon worship. There are probably small groups out there that exist, but they're not very forefront. Because dragons were so heavily removed from this world. So people know, I see a metal dragon, that means it's here to protect us. Cool story.
And that's only what Edelweiss knows.
Is
I mean,
is
at
there
least
a way? Is there a way to contact the coppers?
I mean, magically, there's usually there's a station in every major city, or basically, if there's a town with a population more than 1,000, there's always a parastation there. And of course, the bigger it gets, the more of them they are. They still delegate policing. Yes. They still delegate law keeping and policing to the local authorities. They deal with, like, big supernatural threats. Or, you know, in case local authorities can't handle something or aren't there, they'll step in and be like, hang on, stop it. And then they'll wait for the proper authorities to show up and let them finish the work. But yeah, they're everywhere. And, like, you can write letters, horseback. You can literally walk into any of their stations and they'll be like, hey, how can we help you?
Talk to my sister. Hey, sister, can you go and go to the Shalcir and alert them that there's a gold dragon here?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that later tonight when she messages you.
Yeah.
Oh.
The list named.
And fun fact, if you dig through all the etymology of the names for my Protectorate dragons, they are all somehow tied into their respective metals in different languages.
I like the name Rahash. That's a great name.
Okay, so after that lore dump, anything else? We just call it a day there.
Can we do a bio break after that?
You know what? Sure, that seems like a reasonable thing to do. Let's take a bio break. 20 past. Come back at 20 past.
well, that was a 20.
Lore bomb. Lore bomb.
I got a 20. Not natural, but dang.
Oh.
Well, I will speak
The
after that,
dragon-
because the reason I was getting that information was to, like, say something. Of, like, try to discern what this means, basically, in the scale of dragons and what they're supposed to. So I know it's not supposed to be here, which is general information.
Not even close, let alone shackled and chained up. Super unusual, super weird.
Yeah, it was.
That's fine.
It's mainly for me because I wasn't sure about this information, but I do love the lore dump.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
again,
like-
you hit a lot of story things, like, because that's where you would have learned your information from. And the 20 is the cap for a lot of the more threshold information. Versus 25, I can go into some more details, like personalities of various dragon types and the reason why they're made out
That's
of
a
metal.
Nikolai thing. That's a Nikolai thing.
Yeah.
7
Yeah, no,
plus
that's
7. Almost plus 8.
that's why he-
Almost plus 8. Next level.
That's why he was like, you know, it's weird that for a dragon that's supposed to protect life, you would chain it up instead of just, like, working with it in some form. You know? He did say that.
Well,
Of the
you know
nature of-
dwarves. Those rascals like shackling things for some reason.
I love the nature that there's a
Apparently.
reason for this. Maybe the dwarves aren't good, but, you know. This isn't something we
The
can
dragon.
wander into. This is
Well,
exciting.
you know the motto of the campaign. And on that note, I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Unfortunately.
Yes. It keeps coming true and I love it.
I'm just using it. I was like, well, I don't know if this cornbread thing is going to work today, but I better... We don't know if this chili is going to work because that's a tomato sauce, but you know what?
I'll be right back because I need
Also
to
be right
get
back, I
probably
think.
something more fulfilling.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Got in some water.
I likewise have water.
Should have gotten. I almost drank all my water. Should have gotten more.
Bio breaks, an exercise into whether or not my players can be punctual.
Now I'm looking for these Pokemon shirts. I really want one. He's cute. Oh. Oh, dang. I can keep talking about Pokemon shirts. I want to express that my favorite thing is a random Pokemon you don't care about can have the nicest looking shirt, and it's like, well, dang it. It's really pretty. Hey, Al, do you see the pattern I sent you?
Who are we waiting on?
Yes, I did.
Did you
I
like
see
it?
an owl, I see music, I see a Kyle.
Ryan?
I can hear odd.
Yes.
Guess it's Ryan.
I guess we're back then.
Not yet. Waiting on
I
a
was just
Ryan.
waiting for my food to cook, so I wasn't here yet.
We're all doing the Hardy sprint across our respective homes and apartments to get snacks.
I decided to do that after session because I want to have more of that delicious chili and cornbread. It's all I'm eating today.
And I did the Hardy sprint in waiting format around my microwave.
Mm. Ryan!
And thank you, good DM, for the wondrous lore bomb.
You're welcome. There's so much more. That was only like a surface level lore bomb.
Yeah.
Ah,
We'll get there when we start
Happy
going
to
down
get-
those rabbit holes, you know?
If you guys choose to. You
You
guys
know,
could just be like, well, we pass this
I
off
mean,
to the police,
we
call
might
it a
not-
day.
I know one of these, one day we're gonna go down the rabbit hole. Maybe not this one, but
We-
a rabbit hole.
we have to go down the Dragonology rabbit hole, though. It's so cool.
Dragons?
Well, like I said, since we're still waiting on someone, I can at the very least explain again a bit of how my thought process works, which is
Yeah.
so I've at least explained the webbing theory to you guys, right? How everything starts at one point, and then that one point has 6 or 7 different offshoots, and then those offshoots have 6 or 7 different offshoots, and it looks like a spider's web, right? This is just literally one of the threads that you guys have sort of hit the multiple angles to. Because at the very least, the fortress in particular instance has a couple of things that you guys have stumbled upon, and if you chased in one direction after one, you would have found more offshoots like this. You just happen to have stumbled headlong into the one involving directly the dwarves that used to be here. But there was, a locked notebook on one of the bodies in the longhouse that got stolen. That had you guys cracked it open and read that guy's the contents of his journal could have taken you somewhere else. You could have chased after Calabash to learn more about his the changing of the old guard from when the new Lycan is born as to what he's supposed to be doing and what this one's up to and why him not doing his job might be bad. There's Kalina in trying to find where she's from, which you guys have already sort of dipped your toe into. And yeah, like I said, a lot of gold dragon stuff. The druids in the mountains, Kenna's people. There's just like all kinds of things, and then there's just more things that offshoot. So like, I hope you guys are sort of seeing the way that I work these things, and if you guys ever feel like you have nothing to do, I would just urge you to re-examine everything, because there's always something to do. Oh yeah, and the orb. Let's not just completely ignore the fact that thing still exists.
I mean, if I do my plan with Kalina because of that stuff, that
you know what you should do? You should go back to the ruins and dump the orb out on top of the dragon and see what happens. I think that is the epitome of the campaign.
If there's anything that can deal with that orb, it's probably the dragon. And if not, well, now we know we have an anti-dragon device, if we need one.
You're right. Just put it into a catapult, kill everything with it, no problem. Speaking of killing everything with catapults, is Ryan back?
Yes, I do apologize. I went to the toilet, the light went out, had to fix the light, and I had a cup of tea.
Yeah, no, reasonable. Yep, safety first. Don't ever leave a room with no light out, because then you'll forget about it, and then late at night, you're like, let me turn on this light switch, and you expect it to be on, but you keep going, and you trip over something, hurt yourself.
Yeah, that's...
Don't do that. Why. Yeah, no, be smart. Owl, are you here?
I am.
Good.
I forgot I turned my camera off, and I just
Better
thumbs
be.
up to a monitor.
All right, since everyone's back, we will begin again. Only 8 minutes late. Not bad. Not bad. All right.
Yeah, on time.
So you're in the cavern beneath Stenmeyer. You've spoken to Kalina and informed her about the things you've discovered and some things that she has remembered. Kenna is off somewhere doing who knows what. We know, but you guys don't exactly know. Where do you guys want to pick back off? You got a lot of things to do. A lot of inquiries.
I believe Edelweiss had one thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all right. You can. No, it's fine. I'm just gonna say Lars is waiting for everyone to leave the room again.
Are
Alright,
we
then
gonna leave, or are we gonna rest because of Nikolai's uncomfortable condition?
But yeah, if we want to do a short rest, there's one thing I'd like to do before said short rest, and that's identify one item, because he still has one side point.
Oh, kitty.
So, you guys, gotta get back into the accent. You guys want to rest for an hour or so? Well, Kenna does Kenna things.
Actually, if you don't mind, boss, I'd like to head back down to the cabin below, just to accompany her, just make sure she doesn't get into anything she can't handle on her own.
Go ahead. I'll be joining you down there if you guys aren't back up after the hour. I'll slowly travel down there because there's some more things down there I'd like to examine.
I'll be mine. Make sure I can make it back up. And Gwen heads off.
Okay, heading back down the hidden passage down the direction Kenna went?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Meanwhile, we cut away to Kenna fighting a bullet. No, I'm kidding. We cut away to Kenna, for the sake of narrative, reaching the bottom of the stairs. What is Kenna's goal, having descended and come back down here?
Bottom of which stairs? There were a lot of sets of stairs.
Yes, the long 30-minute stairs.
Oh. Kenna's goal was to go like continuously tracking back all the way to like the office building.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom of the stairs is a bit of a 30-minute ordeal. Although, granted, you could probably like hop from landing to landing and cut the time down a bit. Going down's a lot easier than going up. But yeah, I mean, it'll take you about 20 minutes or so. But then you get to the bottom, and then you walk the hallway, and then you walk up the stairs, and you're back in the office. So they were sitting and chit-chatting for, at least a good 10 minutes. So, and I'm not going to make you go, well, you have to wait another 10 minutes to walk the stairs. You're there. And Gwen will catch up whenever.
Okay. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get all the way back there, but if you need to know what I want to do next, I can tell you.
Well, I mean, it's going to take you about 25 minutes to get back to the office.
Okay. I mean, I was going to go as long as there was no signs of anything or anyone trying to, like, follow in after us. I'm just continue on moving forward back to that front door.
Okay.
And, let's see, I had 2 ideas, so I'll just go roll for it. So that's a 4. I'll even head back up through those tunnels and head back up and try to climb back up to where we came down. Into the Druid Caves.
Okay. Are you going to turn into a bear again? Or are you going to try to do it as Kenna? Because one involves a check, the other one doesn't.
I'm doing this kind of. She's confident.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to need an athletics check. Because it's quite steep. And very rocky.
I don't know what I get with proficiency, but I rolled a 12, so 16.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it. Again, it's a little treacherous. Bad footing could slip, and you could fall down for a bit. But you make it to the top after a bit of work, and you're back in the Druid tunnels.
This would be an important point. Fuck. Never mind. This lasts for 8 hours, not 1 hour. All right, we're cool. Yeah, I would actually continue down to the next Druid camp.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that far. It's literally within eye shot of your dark vision.
So yeah, she would go there, and basically, it's for however long they're trying to just sit around and rest and not really go anywhere or do anything. Kenna's going to find something to do. So
fair enough.
If I need to update you on what she would be doing or where she had been walking, I will. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, her was to go check that door of that structure where the dragon is. No other signs of anything. She'd continue on to that druid camp. If continuing no other signs, she would actually open that entrance. She would look for the entrance into that camp.
Okay.
And open it to see where the tunnel led to.
All right. Well, you can open it. And when you look outside, you are surrounded by forest, and at a glance, you can tell you're at the base of the mountains. Make me a nature check to see if you can pinpoint where you are.
I rolled a 15 plus 4
That's
for
pretty
19.
good. That's pretty good. You are somewhere, probably about 30 or so minutes north of the fortress.
Okay. Out into the woods.
Yep.
This is this is below the druid circle, but north of the fortress.
Correct. It is smack dab in the middle.
Okay. When we were going through those tunnels to find that next camp, it didn't fork at all, right?
It didn't, no.
Like the fork was the going down into that slippery slope, right?
That is correct.
How much time would have passed to get there?
To where you are now?
Yeah, like
About an hour. Yeah, about an hour.
Well, if Gwen hasn't caught up to me, then I don't know, but that's within an hour's worth of time. That's what
Yeah, given that Kenna's motion was mostly forward, there was really no stopping. Yeah, Gwen would have a bit of a hard time catching up to you.
Gwen wasn't trying to catch up to Kenna.
Then where are you going?
I got back to the courtyard with all the flowers. With
The overlook?
yeah, with the
Okay.
overlook.
I mean, you were following in Kenna's wake.
Yeah, preface. Is there any other growth down there? Any sort of moss or you know, anything that would have taken over the floor, or is it just stonework, the poison flowers, just that? No
Yep.
dirt, no anything.
Nope.
All right.
No dirt, no anything.
Okay. Any sort of moss, like in anything that had grown on the walls of the staircase on the way down? Okay.
Nope.
Alright. So, do I know if these flowers are irritating to the skin? Like, if you touch them, is it like, do you get a poison ivy-esque reaction, or are they safe to...
I mean, you've already handled them, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, you didn't have a reaction.
Good. So yeah, she just finds a particularly dense patch of those flowers
Mm-hmm.
and arranges a clear spot and sits down in the middle of them and takes from her bag a couple of small, like, keepsakes, like a small silver incense tray, a couple of animal bones, and some, like a small bundle of dried herbs, and she sets them out in front of her. They're all tattered and worse for wear, and then there's a medicine pouch around her
Mhm.
neck that contains dirt, detritus, and some wood from her home forest setting, environ, whatever you want to call it. And she takes a moment, lights a stick of incense in that tray, and lets it burn, and then brings that medicine pouch up to her nose and just takes a deep, like, inhale.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna sit in that sort of moment and just sort of slow down and meditate and try to connect with the plant life in the cavern. And I don't quite know how to say it. I'm trying to D100.
I gathered as much. I was gonna ask for one anyway, so we're on the
Yeah.
same wavelength. That's good.
I just want to spend time in meditation, connecting with the life around me, and I want to try to reach out, like expand myself through it,
Mm-hmm.
down and reach to that dragon, and see if I can gain any insights to it based on all the life and everything wrapped around it.
Okay, I see what you're going for. Well, you've done all the legwork. Roll the D100.
Don't fuck me. Can't re-roll these, right?
No, you cannot.
Okay. 97?
That's pretty good. Okay.
Yes,
So-
97. Hello!
As you sit down, you've gathered all of these items about you. The smoke from the incense begins to waft in the air, tickling at the edge of your senses. You take in a deep inhale of the smell of your home. And you are reminded of the imagery of the fir trees, the moist, damp soil, and the cool air. And as you exhale and close your eyes, you feel almost like a head rush overtakes you. But then when you try to recover, you are no longer looking directly in front of you. Instead, you're looking at almost everything around you all at once. It's overwhelming at first. And it is in a moment where you realize you're not seeing like you're used to seeing. You're seeing as if you are sensing everything that every ounce of plant life from these vines and flowers can sense. But you also notice something else, which is here, there is another present, and you are not alone. And as you think about it, a voice enters into your head. It is unusual to see someone else in here. I was unaware anyone in your party had a power like this. It is Kalina.
It's not a power I have. I think I just stumbled onto it. I am sorry if I'm intruding.
I will admit it has been a very long time since I've shared my awareness with someone else. But this is not off-putting. My sisters and I shared experiences like this frequently.
It's incredible. I apologize, I came here for a reason I don't know if I can.
Well then, what is your purpose, Gwen?
You mentioned having to do research to investigate why perhaps exactly the dwarves locked away this creature. I was hoping something that had been down here this long with it, something that had grown over it, might be able to tell me a little bit more. At least might be able to connect me to it.
I understand your intentions. Perhaps it will be easier for me to just explain to you what I have learned. Which is to say, I know the beast's size and shape and how much it weighs. I know the amount of scales on its body and how thick they are. But the one thing that I definitively know is that there is no life inside of the creature. And allow me to perhaps clarify that statement. There is no living soul within the beast. I did not want to jump to conclusions in front of the rest of your companions, but I believe the thing that is behind the locked door is the dragon's soul.
And you can't reach within or past that door.
No. It is sealed. Completely. There's only one way to open that door, and only the commander of this clan was aware of it.
These notes might have something to do then. Interesting. Might I look at it through your eyes?
You may.
Thank
Just
you.
do not overwhelm yourself.
I'm a bit new to this, but I'll do my best.
And as you continue to reach out, it's unusual. You still feel yourself. You know, you're aware of your physical presence. But the less you think about it, and the more you think about this expanded presence you carry, the more and more you realize you can manipulate parts of it. You can have small vines grow and extend and probe and touch. And you can get an idea of a texture and a density of something. You can, based off of the flowers, have a small, to put it simply, a small radius of blind sight around them, about 5 feet. But with how densely packed they are, you can see very clearly many things around you. So much so to the point that these have overgrown on top of the dragon. So much as Kalina described, you can see and feel its general shape and size. How thick it is, its various scales and the way they're overlapped. Many fine details. Is there anything particular you'd like to try to quest for?
I have no idea. Can I see what they took out of it? Does it seem like there's like a wound or something? Anything?
No. I mean, I don't know if Gwen's an expert on draconic anatomy, but
Never seen a dragon.
well, exactly, very few people have. But near as you can tell, there are no obvious holes or gaps or gashes cut into the shape and form of the dragon. It's about what you'd expect. Large creature, crafted with perfect musculature, huge wings covered in very dense scales that could probably withstand a ballista bolt and not penetrate it.
Can you tell that it's crafted rather than, like flesh and bone? I guess it is made of metal, but...
Well, it is and it isn't. Okay. Dragons are the greatest fascination to many people, especially scholars who study them, in that while it is historically spoken that they are crafted from the literal metals of the earth, and thus why they are represented by certain types of metal, that to interact with one, they are almost like flesh and blood beasts. With the exception of the fact that they don't suffer any of the drawbacks typical flesh and blood beasts would, such as opening a vein and bleeding to death, or the need to eat, or the need to sleep. Near as you can tell, it is what you would imagine to be a perfectly crafted predator.
Yeah, I don't think at this point she has anything specific that she's looking for outside of, any evidence of what they might have done to it. And I can't...
Which, as you can tell, is near as you can tell, nothing.
Yeah.
It looks fine.
So she just... If Kenna comes back this way, which is an important question.
It would be a little bit later, but continue.
If Kenna comes back this way, she would find Gwen in this trance, because Gwen would probably not necessarily get overwhelmed, but just get lost in trying and like examining this creature and how it trying to piece together how it moves and how it would have acted when it was still moving in one solid piece. So she would probably come upon Gwen like covered in vines that have started to grow over and grow around her and like encapsulate her as she's just sort of been sitting here meditating. So Gwen's just gonna sit and try to study and commit as much of this, like, of the anatomical nature of this animal to memory as she can.
Sure thing, boss. And we'll revisit you later.
Okay.
Real quick, because about an hour has passed by for two people. Nikolai, Modahain, and Edelweiss. What are you guys doing after Gwen is departed?
I have something. If no one
Edelweiss?
else has anything else to do. Okay.
I mean, I have some things, but you can go first.
Okay. Well, just to try something. I want to grab my violin and do a little bit of practicing.
Sure.
But I want to play not specific, but I want to try to think of some very old song to play.
Okay.
Basically, test the waters with Kalina just in case she might recognize or feel any familiarity.
Ah, you're reaching deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what rolls are for.
Yep. Now, are you going for like a really big reach, like a D100 reach, or are you just going for like a, music I've studied and read, like a history check reach?
Yeah, I'm not going for a deep reach.
Okay. In which case, just a history check.
History check. Straight history?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not bad.
I should try to guidance that. I would consider rolling a d20, but I don't think another one. But I don't think I can get any further. Is it straight history?
Yep, straight history. So you pour over your musical knowledge and the songs and music you have learned.
Would the Book of Shadows help us this?
It doesn't produce anything that is
Okay.
exactly what you're looking for. You don't think you hit anything that is of something Kalina would know. But as with all things that are of a creative nature, it is possible that some of the songs you do know could have been derived from some of the music she knew. As you
I
know,
was trying to more,
history sometimes
not
works.
exact, but more familiar in the way music can evolve.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what would... So I'm going to put you on the spot. What would a plant-based creature from a lost society be familiar with? What way do you think that music evolved to?
Which is my theory of how similar Viridian sounds like to home, so I would choose a very old song from home. Just
Fair
because
enough.
it feels. That's what Edelweiss would be going for, considering that's the conclusion or thought they've had regarding what they've heard.
All right, that's fair. Well, in which case, you can just lean on your own knowledge and pick a song that is a bit older from where you're from.
That's my point.
All right, we'll make a performance check. Let's see how it hits.
Yeah. This I'm probably gonna re-roll if it's not good. I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay,
Much better.
that's
Much
pretty
better.
good. Well, you spend time. You flip through your book, using it as an aid to find an appropriate song that you think will, pun intended, strike the right notes. You will practice a little bit to make sure you are kind of in the right mood for this type of music. And then after like 15 minutes or so, you finally, from a point of practice, begin starting the actual song.
And just to make sure, Edelweiss is just sitting around. They're not like trying to grab any attention. They just, went to grab their violin and
Yeah. Perched up on a nice grassy rock. You just chilling.
don't know if we'll get anything, but
Out of, were you picking one specifically tied to where Edelweiss lives, or out of the 4 possible locations from where you're from?
what? Probably where they live.
Okay.
They might do something else, but it's most likely where they live, considering.
So the song is a bit more upbeat. It's very bright and melodic. No, and the performance is very beautiful. And for those of you, if you stayed down here the whole time while Edelweiss was, preparing and just practicing very casually off to the side, the music would, unbeknownst to you, increase your heart rate a little, like it's encouraging you to dance. Over the course of it, Edelweiss, it is observable that Kalina enjoys it. And the plants even respond in tune, where the rock you're leaning up against, you'll see a couple of new growths and some flowers will
that was
bud
also
and then
a point.
open up.
Because Edelweiss knows to play to plants, because that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Should
Yeah,
sometimes
except-
play outside.
The vegetation reacts, and the energy of it seems to encourage the very growth of the greenery around you. Like I said, yeah, and Kalina seems to be very, she seems to enjoy it quite a bit. But before we continue any further down that particular vein, Nikolai, Beat Boy, what are you up to?
I will cast Identify on. Let's go with the Dwarven Dagger, and then take a short rest, or try a short rest.
Sure. Were you staying down in the cavern, or were you going back above ground?
I'll will stay in the cavern with Kalina.
You cast Identify onto the dagger. You discover it is a +1 magical dagger. Fairly straightforward.
Yep. And then short rest.
Okay.
Try short rest. Listening to music and probably trying to study a bit, although he's still tired. So
Yep.
gotta get those draconic studies in though.
You are tired and exhausted, and you hurt all over. But yeah, you can get in a short rest. So an hour is going to pass by for you. Moldahain. It doesn't seem like people are really leaving the cavern. So what are you doing?
It's okay. So basically, when everything's calmed down and the music starts, and everything sort of calmed down after Lars's he would have fed Portia a bit, while being just a quick hello, how you doing, stroking. He will he'll stand back up, walk over to Kalina, and say, thank you for looking after Portia. I'm sure you had a very nice conversation with her.
I did. She is a good conversationalist. We learned much about each other.
I'm glad, and I won't peruse into anything you don't want to give away. But for the meantime that we are here, I will always happily leave her in your presence. The fact of the matter is, recently, as things have been getting more dangerous, I find myself wanting her to be more out of the way, rather than in the line of fire. But he'll also say, but I have a question for you specifically, Kalina.
You may ask.
I'm just trying to get an understanding of where we are with regards to what we have just found and what your intentions are. Specifically, would you want to go back to where you came from and to leave the dragon left down here without anyone knowing or finding, or you stay here and we unleash the dragon? He says that in a very kind of surrealistic look as he stares off a bit into the distance before snapping back and sort of looking back at Kalina in kind of, he's confused himself. This is all a lot for him, essentially.
That's fair. She will stop and consider you for a moment. Well, that was many questions, but most of which I've had time to think about and have answers for. I am not so unaware of my surroundings to think that where I came from still exists, given that no one here has seemed to have heard of it except in stories and history books. I would like to know the fate of my people, given that I was one of their protectors. If I could go back, I certainly would, but I do not know if I could. Which means I would have to find myself a new home. Because this place, and he gestures with a hand to the cave, is not a home. This has been, for many centuries, a prison. I would prefer not to stay here. As for the dragon, the dwarves seemed very determined to keep it here. And they were not using it as a weapon of war. They were, like me, even worse than me, keeping it here so that it might not act. They used me, at least in a way that allowed me to be aware, be myself. This creature they have sundered in twain. Body and soul. I would not wish that upon anybody. But I can't imagine they did it for no reason. Would I choose to free it? And she stops and thinks. No, I don't think I would. But I would also seek those wiser than me on the subject matter to find a better answer. Surely there must be somebody that knows about these dwarves and what they were doing. Or about missing dragons. It is not as if the dragon will get up and leave. And I doubt, at the very least, part of it isn't suffering. I think it is wise to act with caution, to seek out those more knowledgeable than ourselves in this matter. So to answer your question a bit more succinctly, if I could leave this place, I would. If I could go home, I would. I would not free the dragon.
Lars, listening to all of this, going through like
Okay, I'll do it.
if she could go home, you know, she would, all that sort of stuff. He would sort of like just scoff under his breath a bit, look up at Kalina and say, despite being an amazing creature, you and I are kind of the same. I have homes that I want to go back to, but I can't. And yet, I am also cautious in the way I go about things. That is the way I have been taught. But deep down, would you want to at least see for yourself the place where you came from, to give you better light on what the future holds and where you would like to stay?
If I could do so without the cost of my life, I would. But as it stands, I cannot leave this place.
Understood.
The weather is too harsh, and my roots are too weak.
So, in theory, let me deduce that come the spring... Sorry. Come
It's accurate.
come warmer weather, shall I say. You will be ready to move.
Yes, that is correct.
Lars will nod, and he'll say, if I'll put it this way, for the help and the information that you have given us, and especially for looking after one of my very special friends, I would be happy to help you in such matters, because I am also trying to find my home, and I would also like to confide in others that do so, as it is a subject that is very heavy on my heart.
She will smile at you, which is the first time you've actually seen her smile. Expressions for her have been a bit flat up to this point. Thank you, Mordheim. I appreciate that. And it is in the essence of your words that you have encapsulated where I am from. The way those in Viridian lived. To help one another's ascend to higher places, so that we may all live a better life. That is the reason why we lived like we did.
Lars again will he's kind of like it's kind of tough to talk to because he cannot believe what he's talking to, but at the same time it's like he's talking like to a mirror image of himself essentially, and he'll just go, "That's good to hear. Until that time comes, I hope that we get to know." Well, get to learn a bit more from each other, take care of each other, and most importantly, take care of Portia. And he'll snigger again.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll say as well, he's like, "Thank you for the conversation. I'm going to leave Portia with you again. I feel like she is a great companion for you. I'm going to go check on what's the other two down where's the dragon, and I will relay your feelings to them. Obviously, I am not the voice for the whole group, but I do like to err on the side of caution, and I feel like that is... I want to express my and your views, because I feel like being here together, all of us, not just our group and you, I feel like all together we should be responsible for what is down there.
Should the need arise, we can gather together again and speak at more length to this.
Indeed. Indeed. I shall take my leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
He'll gather his equipment, pet Portia, and head downstairs. And
Okay.
That's what I...
Okay. Edelweiss, was there anything extra you wanted to do with your music and your time there in the cavern?
No. Just that small thing. Nothing too much.
Okay. Kenna.
Yes.
So you've found your way in a rough location as to where this druid tunnel exits. What are you doing from there?
It's a little bit afternoon.
Hang on. It's about 1? Yeah, it's 1 p.m.
How's the weather?
That's a great question. Let's find out. It is overcast and windy, but it is not snowing.
Less windy down here at the base than up there on the crags? Or?
Yes, but still noticeably windy for where you are. There appears to be a large storm system coming in off of the ocean.
That's a good question. What would I do?
You want me to get back to you?
Yeah, give me a few minutes.
Okay.
I had an idea what I wanted to do, but the fact that it's not blizzarding actually kind of changes that.
All right. All right. Well, Gwen's getting high with plants, so I guess we can skip over her for a while as well. Since she's kind of tentatively waiting for Kenna to hopefully double back and find her. I guess we're just going to jump ahead to the short rest comes to an end. So we're going to go back to Noble Boy Nikolai.
Ooh, foresight points. What looks like 3 items. Hey, identify on the golden dragon chain first.
Okay. The golden dragon chain has a effect upon it that allows you to cast the bless spell once per day. First level bless spell once per day. It requires attunement.
Oh. Mm, I can't get into the lockbox right now. Probably.
It's not unlocked.
Yeah. Can he read through the dwarven documents?
If you'd like.
Yeah.
Okay. You can undo the chain, holding them together. The page underneath the topmost page. And again, this is an older Dwarven dialect, so it's a little bit harder to read. You get like maybe every other word. With a lot of the sentence structure being more or less the same, but a lot of the verbiage and things have sort of changed or evolved. The first page is noted. This you remember because you have identified this before, which is the first page says from the desk of Commander Mulgir Gilderock, which is the gentleman whose helmet you've been wearing. The fine, gentle dwarf. Then underneath it, and again, in the slightly broken dwarvish, reads time. It's basically time, move, dragon, imminent threat. And that's basically what a couple you get from 2 or 3 sentences.
Oh.
And then the next handful of pages underneath it are more or less top to bottom pages filled with what looks like a handwritten report. The gist of it, so I'm not going to just do the whole broken speech thing with you for the next half hour. The gist of the entire report that you read through is that the clan here, responsible for protecting the dragon, a group of natives became hostile to them and the outpost. And while initially able to fend them off, they returned with a creature who was capable of clawing through their armor as if tissue paper. And this led into a longer, drawn-out altercation, and they were sending in a request to move the dragon and requesting reinforcements to deal with the attack. Nowhere on the entire report does it ever say who this is going to. Despite the fact it's very clear it never got sent as well.
Huh. Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Go over to Kalina.
Mm-hmm.
Kalina, do you have I just read through this grouping of documents here, what seems like a report from one of the dwarves or to the dwarf here. I can't really tell, but it seems like they wanted more troops. Have you heard of a Moldir Gilderock? Commander Moldir Gilderock?
Yes, I am aware of this individual. He is the one that oversaw this particular location.
Ah. did you have any personal interaction with him? And do you remember roughly how long ago this was? Him specifically?
I interacted with him regularly, as he was the only one capable of giving me orders. He was the one that they anchored my control spell to. As for how long ago, I do not remember exactly how long ago the last time I spoke with him was. It's been several hundred years since I last remember being free.
Okay. Yeah, this report talks about moving the dragon an imminent threat to, like, the, as they refer to them, the natives. I'm assuming some type of druid clan or something of the sort. Bringing a new weapon that was able to pierce their armor. Do you remember anything of that?
No, they didn't really speak much at detail of the goings-on with their operation in this area. However, I suppose more to the question was, I was here during the final day with what I believe to be the last encounter with this group that you have spoken of. Because it is here in this cavern that they made their last stand and were slain.
Oh, thank you. That's all I have on that. It's rather interesting down there. I'm probably going to go back down there in a little bit. If you need me for anything.
Of course. It seems as if most of the other members of your party have likewise descended back down below. All except for you and Edelweiss.
Yeah. Well, which reminds me, I should probably talk to them. I'll call out to Edelweiss. Edelweiss, I'm going to start going down slowly, back down to the doors. See about investigating the area more.
Alright, I shall come with now. Like, put their violin down. Come by. And if nothing else, they will thank.
He will start making his way down slowly.
They will thank Kalina, Isabel, and continue.
And in turn, Kalina will likewise put her hands together and offer you a slight bow in return. Thank you for the music. It has been, as you can imagine, a very long time since I've had the pleasure of a musical instrument nearby.
I'll try and learn. I'll play more when I can. It's good to play to music, to nature. It should also play outside, up above, but down here is important too.
You should catch up to the rest of your party.
Yeah, I shall.
And away we go. Kenna, figured out what you're doing?
Yep. She would actually head back through the tunnel.
Okay.
To the fortress.
All right. In which case, you descend back down the tunnel.
Closing it up behind me.
Yeah, of course. And you begin heading back to the fortress. To descend back down that particular track, I need a check for you. It's an acrobatics check. Do not slip and fall.
Roll an 11.
Okay.
Plus something.
Yeah,
Acrobatics.
Yep.
13 total.
Nice. You don't slip and die. Awesome.
Cool.
So you descend, skidding part of the way down, eventually landing back in the small base area where you could clearly tell dwarves had digging equipment once upon a time. You wander through the cave where the air becomes sweet once more, eventually stumbling across a cross-legged Gwen who, as previously mentioned, is now overgrown by vines and flowers, where she seems to be sitting in a trance of some kind.
So overgrown that I can't tell it's Gwen, or I can tell it's Gwen?
You can tell it's Gwen.
That's new. Can I tell what kind of plants, or is it the same kind of flowers?
Same flowers, same vines, same flowers.
I do a soft whistle to see if it affects her at all.
She
Do I
does
hear
not. You do not. But through the plants, you do know Kenna has approached.
Okay. Then I'll just sort of try to come back into myself and just opens her eyes and I don't know if the vines fall away after that.
They don't.
But okay.
And it's a little dizzying, also returning to your senses as well. You have a moment of nausea and vertigo.
Oof. I was supposed to come find you. I got a little distracted.
I see that.
She starts to peel off the vines and just gently and set them back and pick up her things that she had used for her ritual. She's like, hello. Yes, I know you want to go outside. We've got 40 minutes, but I was able to look through the plants to sit here and just sort of expand my own sense of self through them. It was incredible. But I was able to get a better read on the creature down below. Also incredible. It's been separated, though, from its soul. It is... I wouldn't call it sleeping, but... catatonic, in a sense.
It's good
I
to
think-
hear.
How do you think of it? All of this.
I have little thoughts about it.
They're going to want to do something with it. Honestly,
They
I
shouldn't.
don't think...
It should stay right there.
You think so?
I do. But we can talk while we walk. Come on. I don't want to lock you out, but I'm closing this door.
Of course. She stands up, follows you. What do you think keeps it safe if... Well, I know we've talked a lot about helping Kalina out of here, so if Kalina's gone, and who knows who might come looking for that meteorite. How long can we guarantee it'll stay down here?
Let's stay down here for however long it's been. Hopefully it stays that way.
Well, might I ask, why you feel this way about it?
Just an instinct.
Fair enough. Say,
I closed the dwarven door behind us, by the way.
um, say you wouldn't. I don't know. Your kind seem to be a bit more in tune with nature than I've ever technically been. You wouldn't happen to be familiar with that ability, whatever I was able to invoke, and I'll describe it a little bit more in detail.
From what you, how you speak of it, I can do that. Not to rain on your feelings, but relatively easily.
Well,
To a degree. Not as in depth, maybe, but the basic bit.
well, I haven't had all of the training that you've had either. It was sort of just luck that I invoked it. But I was also much closer to the living world at one point.
I would say from your experience, I can reach out and feel the plants and animals that I'm looking for. Not all plants and animals. It's a different experience from what you got, but it's along the same nature. I have to know what I'm looking for, I should say.
Fair enough. Have you ever left these mountains? You know.
Like the range here where this fortress is?
Just, I guess the area in general.
Well, yes. But beyond these mountains is more mountains. I have seen, as we're walking, I've seen a fair share of environments, but they are within this mountain range. As in, you look into the distance and all you see is the mountain. All surrounding ranges. I've been there. But I've only heard stories of a place with no trees. I've only heard stories of a place covered in sand.
The desert.
I assume so.
I've crossed it. It's beautiful in its own right. Deadly.
But
I apologize.
it's fine. It's where I'm used to living, we have a little bit of everything in its own right. We don't have what you call a desert with sand. I've been led to believe that we have a version of it, but it's grass. You know, I have not experienced what was an ocean, but I've experienced large bodies of water. The mountains hold untold secrets that most don't know about.
She just sort of looks around the dwarven break room, office room. Look out over Dragon Pit.
Yeah.
I've gathered.
No.
Do you have... Well, what between those cremators and whatever the blight is that keeps coming off of other animals, I'm not sure you'd have room, but do you have... Are there spirits here?
Probably. Most likely. I don't know who or where, but they're always around somewhere.
I mean... Things that embody the forest, in a sense. Embody an area.
Well, sure. Just have to find them. It's rather hard, though. I mean,
Indeed it
just on our way up here, we found the great elk.
Do you think... No. No, that's... Do you think you could find it again? With that ability of yours?
It was close enough. I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. What? My abilities are not all-encompassing, Gwen.
Neither are mine. I wouldn't expect that of you, but you're... This is your home and we're guests here. I appreciate everything that you do for us.
Well, you're welcome. And the others are too. But I feel we should get to the others quicker. So, if you would like to keep up. And it kind of goes for a jog.
Mm-hmm. And before you guys power walk your way somewhere else, Mordaheim, you came down here first before all the others. Rather in the wake of Gwen and Kenna, and would have landed prior to them finishing up this tidy little conversation. So, what was Mordaheim's intention with coming down here?
He was going to try and find the other two.
Fair enough. In which case, I suppose if that is your only goal, we will simplify this and have it so you find Gwen and Kenna as their conversation is finishing. We got a little timey-wimey, but for the sake of keeping it easy.
Yeah, it's alright. Lars will approach around the corner and be like, the two big gals.
Hello, Lars.
Excuse me?
What? I'm just making an observation.
I just give you a hard time.
Did you find anything else interesting down here?
I followed the tunnel to where it goes into the other campsite and where it exits out. Then I sealed it back up and came back.
Okay.
How far does it go?
I had a quick chat with Kalina, and I basically wanted to ascertain her view on things and what she would like. And erring on the side of caution with her, like as a person I am. She says that maybe we should, instead of obviously awakening the dragon, we should find out people who might be able to assist with us in such matters. I don't want to be the person that starts the annihilation of the world, if you know what if you know what I mean. But yes, Kalina would obviously like to find a new home and maybe go see a new home when it gets warmer. I just wanted to make that known as well. But in current circumstances, I would actually wanted to try and open the other door. That is what I came down here originally to do. Obviously, I feel like it will probably lead us to going further down.
It'll probably lead us to the dragon.
Indeed.
You sure you want to unlock that obstacle?
No, but
Because it would be beneficial for us. But if it's unlocked, that's a two-way door.
yeah,
And we don't have the key to lock it.
yeah, I get that. Yeah, he will sort of like stand there nodding and keep saying yeah until until someone interjects.
Well, by the size of it, it doesn't look like it'll be able to make it back up this way, at least.
It's not the dragon escaping I'm worried about.
Yeah,
We don't stay down here. There's no telling if there's other people down here. Any group passing through here with someone like me can come in here. The last thing I would want them to do is to walk into the same room.
well, put it this way. We have a guardian watching over such a matter in Kalina. I feel like, despite getting this dandelight off the mountain and waiting for the other overguard with information that I would like to know, I feel like there's not much else for us to do.
Correct. There's other trails we could chase, but I mean, I agree. We have this, and we have waiting for Nikolai's sister. Did Kalina say if she thought we should free the dragon or not?
Let me tell you, it was a resounding no.
I'm glad to hear it, because I agree.
She fears that unleashing such things without prior knowledge, and the fact that the dwarves also kept this dragon down here is of importance, and there is a reason for that. But also, she said it was very cruel in the way that the dwarves have kept her and, well, Kalina and the dragon down here.
It is.
That
All I
is why
know. Go ahead, sorry.
That is why I would very much like to help Kalina when the time is right to find her a new home. If I'm alive to see such things.
I'm sure we can. I would like to help too. But returning to the group, I think we should, for now, Modahan, I think we should leave the door locked.
Yeah, I agree. I still didn't realize your intentions because it wasn't discussed. That is all.
Understood.
So how do we get that rock out of the mountains then?
Very carefully, from the sounds of it. And with the help of something big enough to carry it.
Yeah.
Or very tedious work.
Well, we now have a way to get to it. A safer way to get to it, at least, than we had previously, so that should make going back and forth a little bit easier. We're still going to have to cart back and forth through the forest to get it to the fort.
We can bring it through the tunnels.
Well, we'd have to take it to the staircase.
Funnily enough, it would fit in the tunnels. It would not fit in the staircase.
Okay.
It also wouldn't fit through
Yeah,
any of the
but
doors, and even
wouldn't
some of the
the
tunnel
other
spaces is a little
Wouldn't
little
the
tight.
other tunnel end be much closer to the camp anyways? Where it kinda like checked.
I mean, technically.
Safer than going down that mountain.
Well,
It would be easier to get it across snow. But it'd be safer to go through tunnels, so we'd have to pick our, if you would say, pick our poison.
I feel like we need to find someone to discuss on all the matters we have found out here, because obviously with the crystal blood creature that your cremator vanquished for now, I feel like that is something else we need assistance with. Something that is way over our mortal heads.
Most likely. As we're walking back to the group, I mean, we can always go back into town. I'm sure there are people who might know about such things.
Indeed. Indeed. I hope so.
There might also be people there looking for you, like I was.
Oh, there's people not looking for me.
I hope the people that are looking for me are not there.
And enter Nikolai and Edelweiss.
Oh, right on time. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do next.
I would like to open up the door to the dragon cave.
I don't think that's a wise idea.
Well,
As far as we can piece together, as long as we don't open the big door up there, it should be fine, right? They have some piece of it stuck there.
I just
Some little looking around can't hurt.
don't like the idea of it.
how do
Can
you
you
intend to-
guarantee that there's nothing going to happen when you walk into that chamber?
No, but you can't guarantee a lot of things.
No. But the doors have been locked for this long, and nothing has happened.
Nikolai, your sister hired me to protect you. There is no way.
Yes,
in
she
any
also
of the
didn't
9
know.
hells. There is no way in any of the 9 hells I'm letting you open that door. Either of them.
I mean, wrong setting, but fair point.
Yes, she also didn't know that you were a lichen.
No, she didn't.
And any of the X amount of hells.
However many hells there are,
There aren't any.
where do demons come from?
The Merc. Thank you, Edelweiss, for actually reading setting stuff. Have an inspiration point.
It's gonna be full anyways, but you know.
It can break the cap to 3.
Didn't I already break the cap was 3?
No.
The answer is no.
You would have given me an inspiration point. Anyways.
As much as I would like to assist you in getting yourself into trouble, if you want to try and open the door, I am not going to assist you on such things. I had a talk with Kalina. I'm pretty sure you were within earshot, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I heard.
I just think it's unwise to open a door when we can't guarantee that somebody else won't stumble upon it.
I mean, like I said, Kalina has, well, not metaphysical eyes and ears down here, but she does know what is happening down here.
Oh, knowing what is happening doesn't mean she can physically stop them either.
I understand that as well. I understand that. If anything, if we are to open it, we need to know how to lock it. That is important. If we want to do what Nikolai says, which I am not a fan of.
If
So
most
it's
of us are not in agreement.
So it's been at least a week since we've been here. So we have to wait another 2 weeks before Krista gets back?
I mean, if she went home, was like, all right, I got home, then turns around and leaves, yes. Otherwise, if you actually want her to do any real research to try to come up with any answers to the questions you sent her off with, she will be longer. It's several days trip from where she was to the capital of this duchy. And you can thank Nikolai for that. Rather, you can thank music for that. It's not Nikolai's fault.
Yeah.
In character, Lars will sort of have a quick moment of like realization and turn to Kenna and ask, "Do your friends know anything about this?"
No idea. I didn't think to ask a newfound group of people like me about a dragon I didn't know existed.
Yeah, I know. I was. It was just a simple, you know.
Yes. No.
I was
had no clue.
just making sure that any previous conversation you had with them, that had a dragon in it, that was mentioned, just so we know
They
know
probably
that they
know about
know.
it. Be honest,
Yeah.
they probably do, because their tunnels lead to this tunnel. And if you have sight, then you would be able to see into the pit where the dragon is without going through the door.
Because I think that if we can rely on your friends and your kinds to not only help in, keeping this place patrolled, cleaner, safe until the time is right, we have a better strategy of keeping everything safe.
You see this like puzzled look on her face for a second? I think there's a misunderstanding. Those that I've met and found, I would call allies. I would not stretch to friends, and they are long gone from here. They are nowhere near us.
Okay,
And
understood.
also, I really feel like it would be a bad idea to call upon them for this specific task, especially when you already don't want to open up the door, then why do you need to call on them?
Well,
if we're not going to do anything more here, I'm going to go back to Stenholm. If you guys would accompany.
yes.
Yes. That is something I agree with.
Because if we're not going to investigate the dragon, we can't move Kalina. We also, from apparently how large the meteor was, we also can't move that. We have no purpose here. And I've gotten tired of waiting on my sister when I can just go to her. So.
Well, we can move the meteor, right? We haven't tried. We haven't tried because none of you can survive outside.
So what do you suggest we do about it?
Why don't we just go into town?
And get some supplies and try and dig it out ourselves?
Supplies? Y'all can look for people who might actually know things that you're looking for. I'm sure there's books in town on things. I don't know. That would be Nikolai's place.
I see no reason why I couldn't hire some manpower to move the thing.
Yeah, but
With enough people, you can move mountains, but...
I'm sure there was going to be a smithy that it... Sorry, I didn't mean you were going to say something.
No, just finish it.
I'm sure there will be a smithy who is very interested that would want to help.
If it's as valuable as you say it is, sounds like quite a bit of trouble. Money tends to bring up the worst in people.
I'd
Something
much
like that.
I prefer this plan to opening the dragon. She doesn't know what a can is. Opening the dragon door at the very least.
And how so?
It's a dragon.
It's a dragon that doesn't work. He looks very annoyed.
That's
That
That
thing.
you know of.
Yes, and what's to say that the meteor won't explode in any time? Huh? Huh?
An exploding rock is still less dangerous than a dragon.
Wouldn't you know if meteorites explode
Depends on the
often?
size of the explosion.
I think
Oh,
Nikolai! Can you lock that door? Can you keep anyone
Can
else
you
who
move that
follows
rock?
in? Can you keep anyone else who comes in here after us from going down there and doing exactly what we're debating doing right now? We don't know what happens if we wake it up. We don't know if it is angry that it has been
And
bereft
I'm not
of its soul for
proposing-
3 millennia. Fuck,
And
why
I'm
does she
not
have a British accent?
proposing that we wake it up.
But my
I'm
point is,
proposing that we merely just explore.
my point is, you cannot open a door and leave it open and expect nobody to come along and finish the work that you started.
more dangerous people. There are many.
Okay, and
Look
what's
for
to stop another group of people coming in and opening up that door? Sorry, Edelweiss. Go ahead.
and lower chance, of course. It's
Then it's not on our hands. We
no,
didn't.
but it's my area. If this thing were to awake and have a problem with the people that live in it, it wouldn't be anyone else's but my people in trouble.
you
It'd be
Excuse
better
me.
if I was here.
plenty of resources.
Your area.
okay,
Your
okay.
people are
We
the
are-
only ones.
okay.
and
We are
Last-
closer
your
last-
people.
to the
last
town
steps
than
in
we
the
are
middle.
closer to the mountain range.
Last steps in the middle. Calm, please. Just calm. First and foremost, the thing that awakens the dragon. Nikolai has the helmet for to read whatever is to open the door as a clue. So I feel like awakening the dragon, apart from that, is impossible. I feel like going down now. It's only as an investigation, and if we can lock the door behind us, if then that's fine for me. But I still don't like knowing that we've opened that door and something can just come in and just blow it down easy.
Mm.
What I'm trying to say is that more information and intel is needed before tackling such things that are beyond us.
Any case,
There's
you
no
don't think they'd leave a door to a dragon without countless deadly traps? Even if we get past them, they might not work a second time. I don't think we should try making it easier for others. Besides, you have countless connections, don't you, Nikolai? I don't think you should come alone with lacking the knowledge with a group like us. You should come back another time. There is always a possibility it could be found, but
Well.
it's more safe. At least
If any group would probably be best equipped to deal with this, it would be the Shalshir. shall see her in Stenholm. They have something in Stenholm. We can alert them.
This dragon shouldn't be freed. Alerting someone will probably just free them.
So essentially, what you're saying, Kenner, is that we tell no one at all.
And leave it buried down here? Absolutely.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
But why? It's a protector dragon.
We
If-
don't
And why
know
is it-
the
if
situation yet. I don't think they should be locked up, but we hardly know what's going
shouldn't
on.
be.
Kalina told me
We're
that
not gonna find an answer
that-
down there.
Kalina told me that that thing, that dragon, is not in any pain. It is being kept by the dwarves who were here for a reason. I feel like finding out that reason is more important about telling people that this thing is here.
Agreed. But as far as I can see, unless you have a better idea, the only way we're going to find out any more information without telling other people is by going through that door.
The reason it is here is not going to be it.
That's what I said. It's not gonna be down there. Helena might get more memories back. That's it.
Kenna?
It's
I think we've reached a standstill.
Well, we're certainly not going to get anything done if we stand here and tear ourselves apart over what to do next.
Personally, I think we should hold on to this information until the right person we can tell comes along, and I don't think that's going to be.
Where are we talking right now, CJ? Where did you have them run into us?
You guys are somewhere in the area between the office and the hallway below it. Wherever you want to be, basically.
The fact of the matter is I actually want to assist Kalina more than I want to assist a dragon. So, for that reason, I am out of opening the door.
Ugh. Nikolai turns around and starts walking to the stairs.
Wonderful.
This is why I don't take noble details.
I would just rather if this dragon stayed buried and never was awakened.
I wish there was something we could do, but
I don't.
I,
Just
there's
walks
not
off.
enough knowledge.
Gwen
I
follows.
don't think I want to do anything about it now. Someone stop Nikolai from doing anything.
I'm not stopping him from doing anything.
You don't have to be the someone.
Gwen goes. She's keeping pace with Nikolai.
Was there anything tacked onto that, or you're just keeping pace?
I'm thinking. I'm keeping pace with him, and I just think not. Your interest, your hunger for knowledge, it's important, is what it is, and it's good for you and your people. But don't do something stupid. Don't do something that could get you killed. Yes, your sister.
My very existence could get me killed.
And so could mine. There is a line to walk.
Then you understand exactly.
I do. I understand having urges to chase after everything that's put in front of you. But I also understand having to hold back and temper those urges. Not everything that glitters is gold, especially not this dragon. Not saying it's not worth study. I know, buddy. But right now we are wildly underprepared to deal with it. If we leave it here, if we don't tell anybody about it, if we don't open it, we can come back at a later date and investigate it. When we're stronger, more prepared, perhaps when we can find out a little bit more of what exactly this fortress was, why it was here, and what might have been going on down here. But charging in blind like this, I'm not comfortable with it. I can't let you do it in good faith.
Right. Well then, to stun home then. The meteor, I'd rather not pay people in Diajak to move right now. We can get that later. We have more pressing matters.
Of course, boss. Whatever you say. She just continues behind him. And,
Hey.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Nope, that's not important.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else have any other pieces before everybody, in an awkward silence, climbs 30 minutes worth of stairs back up to the upper level?
Is the area that we're standing, does it have an outlook into like the pit that the dragon?
If you are in one of the 3 aforementioned rooms for the dwarven platform, yes. And then back on the overlook on the other side, which has been, the door has since been closed and relocked. Otherwise, in the hallway below, there is not. There's the door blocking the direction where the pit would be.
I was just saying, like, you know, when we had our conversation, is there like,
In the
does it
office.
have
There's a
yeah.
big old fat window that encompasses almost one whole wall, so yes.
Is there anything that I can pick up of very little value just to chuck down there?
Well, so, first of all, the window doesn't open. It's a solid pane of glass. So you wouldn't have access to the outside from the window. Otherwise, you have to go back out, and again, my understanding of the situation is Kenna has closed the door and relocked it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I didn't know if I could relock that front door. I just closed it. I just closed
Fair
it so
do
that if it was, I just closed it so that it was open, that I would know somebody came through.
Well, okay, never mind. Well, then the door is closed, and Nick, why do I keep doing that? Moldaheim, because you're the one that unlocked it, you would know getting it in and out is simple, and that it doesn't have a casual turn lock on the inside to lock the door.
Okay.
So you could exit out the right side. You could grab one of the bolts, one of the leftover bolts from the crossbows in the room and chuck it down if you'd so desire. Or you could go pick up a rock from the cavern mouth nearby.
No, he would, like, as he like walks through to the to like the overhang, he'll sort of just pick up anything that's like on the way, if it's like a book or if it's just anything.
You could get an empty metal cup.
Yeah, he'll grab that.
Okay.
He'll just sort of look at it, and as he looks out over the ledge, we'll just go. Problems with having a unit. I hope I never to see you again. And he'll chuck the cup off the edge of the off the edge.
All right, is
And
this an overhand or an underhand throw?
This is just like a. I'm just gonna drop it. There's no.
Okay, so
chucking.
just like stretch out arm and let go.
Yeah, and he's gonna
Okay.
listen to see how far down it goes.
Okay, make a perception check for me.
And that's cocked. Okay, that's a 10 plus. 10 plus. Where's my perception? Because I don't have the sheet open. Perception. That's a 1, so it's 11.
Okay. So you reach your hand out over the battlements and you drop the cup. And there's a moment where you just hear a silence. And then after a long moment, you hear the initial ting. And then another long silence. And then very faintly, you hear just... You're not even sure if it was the metal cup at that point, but you hear another very slight sound. You ever taken those hearing tests where they purposely do the decibel range so it's just low enough for you to barely hear? It's like that. You think you hear something, but you're not sure, and then nothing else.
And Lars will make a mental note of that and leave. And as he leaves, can he lock the door?
Yes. If you would take a little time with your tool set, a minute, you could relock the door.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Given this first door, you did some work too. But yes, if you take a minute to reassemble some pieces, you can relock the door.
Yeah, I'll do that. And once, go on.
Just do me a favor and make another Tinker's Tools check with intelligence, so a +4.
That's a 16 plus 4. That's a 20.
Okay, so you will relock the door, and the DC for someone to reopen it is a 20.
Cool. And then with that, Lars will take after the group, walking back up the stairs.
Okay. Okay, so all of you begin the ascent back to Stenmere, inevitably making your return to the cavern below the fortress. Wealthy with new information and a startling discovery, not certain what should be done with this information. There are still many more questions left to answer, and certainly many more things to do. But it seems as if staying here is holding back a lot of that progress. And by the time the evening comes, perhaps there'll be some more information that comes with Krista's telepathic message to Nikolai. But we'll find out what that is next week, because we are going to call it quits there.
Very good point to stop.
Yes, 2 minutes prior, just short of 4 hours, which is what I usually aim for. So, that's that. Boy, howdy, did we get a lot of stuff crammed into today. And I just want to congratulate everybody because that was spicy. I enjoyed that. There was some good stuff today, so kudos to everybody. Really felt it. It was like you guys really came together as players, not as characters. But man, was it good to watch. I'm actually going to have popcorn with me from now on, so I can just do the screen off reach to eat when you guys do that, because it'll be great.
Alright, Puppy's really gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna have to jump off.
Okay,
Bye, it was fun.
bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye. We love you. And we'll see you all next week. And as usual, stay frosty.
Frost.